You missed that live introduction with my crock.
Oh, I seen it. Oh, I seen it.
It's the best show. I'm letting y'all know right now I'm gonna be late.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
It's time for the Good Time Show. It's time for the Good Time Show. If you didn't know, now you know. We in this thing, yo. Just kidding.
Hey, that should be it. We should just make that. I mean,
but every day is different, so we can't really go with that.
Right. So we could record like 14 versions of that, and we could just cycle through.
Yeah. But every day, randomly.
I'm cool.
Randomly, however we're feeling.
I think that works.
But what is up, everybody? I am your girl, the Princess of All.
And I am Cujo Speaks.
And we are here on the Good Time Show. Oh, she said no sound. Okay, let me exit.
Who said?
Let me exit.
Right, baby. Can you hear me on mine, or did they cut me off because we were playing music that we paid royalties for?
Playing that music, baby.
Baby, can you hear me? Hello, good morning.
Wow, it's just gonna start like that. I ain't even say do that. I didn't even say do that.
Said do that.
Hey. Don't do that. Let me put that filter on, baby. Don't do that.
Do that.
Okay, people on my live, can you guys hear me now? But I am your girl. Did we say her name? I'm the girl.
We
Princess
did,
of All.
and I am Cujo Speaks.
Okay. It is 20 minutes after the hour. Wow, that's the longest intro we've had. 4:20. Get it? 4:20 on the east. 1:20 on the west.
And 3:20 CST.
And Cujo know that best.
I do.
For the first time, well, not for the first time, but just in a while, I was on CST time not too long ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when me and her.
Did you hear every time you looked at the clock? Did you hear my voice saying what time it was?
CST.
Every single time.
I did though, but yeah, y'all, we are here on this Good Monday. This light is like.
See, she having light problems because of, I don't know if you're watching what stream you're watching or if you're watching at all, but we do have a large window in our studio, and her angle, there's always this light behind her, and she is a chocolate woman, so she gets unlighted. Is that she gets unlighted? I get darked out.
Yeah, I get darked out.
But then when she tries to put the lighting on,
hey friends, can you hear?
It doesn't quite work out the way we want it to.
Can you hear me now?
Do you want to build a snowman? Wait, what was it was some Disney movie. My favorite one is
something.
Do you want to catch these hands?
Do you want to catch these hands? Do you want to steal some hands? I'm just kidding. Oh no stealing. Okay, do not steal bands or mans. Okay,
I steal.
Right. Okay.
Shout out to Ezel. Rest in peace.
Hey, Ezel. Yeah, I forgot he is.
R.I.P. Ezel.
Oh, thank you. I found his face. But what's up, hey friends? Thanks for tuning in.
Friend, why are you telling people you paid him to be friends?
No, that's his name. I didn't pay him.
Oh.
I
thought you
$1 for tuning in.
You were supposed to say they paid name.
You know what? That might be my new marketing scheme to get people to tune in.
I'll pay you $1.
If you tune in, cash at me $1, and I will send you $1 for tuning in.
Okay, you wasn't supposed to say the cash app part because then you say I'll pay you $1, but then the fine print says send me $1 on cash app. I'll send it back. What's up, my sis, Mrs. Gaston, baby?
But no, if I did that, just my luck, I would have every single last one of my followers tuned in, and I would be out of like 20 bands.
You'll be here.
Oh, now 20,000 people want to tune in because you get $1. Oh, okay.
That's the problem too. See, I always say, like, for instance, on Facebook, I think I have like 1,400 friends on there.
Yeah.
When I was struggling financially and could use like $20 to eat,
it was like,
I'm like, I can't even get 20 people on this page to send me $1. Like, think how easy it would be.
That's the hard part about life. You know what I'm saying? And I was talking to associate of mine, an old associate of mine.
Yes.
See, I told you I get better at that.
You are getting better at that.
And she was saying that her baby shower just happened recently, and she was saying that she was crying because a lot of people didn't show up to her baby shower. And I was like, well, that's kind of like a gift and a curse, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you'll have some people that show up to your baby shower that they won't even give you $5 or $10 for no formula or diapers. Right. And then you'll have people that was not at your baby shower
really
who will, be there for you, support you, send you whatever you need. Yeah. So it's a gift and a curse, but we have to get better at helping our people.
Just in general. I mean, if you think about how there's a huge disparity, obviously, in wealth distribution, which we all know. And then there's 7.2 billion people on the planet? That's right?
Yeah.
Okay, so out of those 7.2 billion people on the planet, right? If everybody gave $1 towards
homelessness could be ended tomorrow.
I'm just saying.
It's politics.
I'm just saying, there's no way anybody in the world would let that happen.
Oh yeah, no. It's power and control over homelessness right now.
That's the way that it's set up.
It depends. Okay, so today, right? He said, shout out to my family. What's up, Gino? Where you been? Because I ain't heard from you in a minute. But there's this guy that's always on the side of the freeway. And he's there constantly. I should be able to write him off on my taxes at this point. And I'm not complaining because I'm blessed to be able to give to him. Yeah. Whether it's food or if I just have lunch, then I'll just give him my lunch. But today, I gave him $20 or something. And I wrote my number on a piece of paper, and I told him, I said, call me. I said, I would like to help you, out farther than just this.
Yeah.
I hope he will call me. But my thing is, and me and my husband were talking about this, I don't want to be one of those people that just throw money at the problem. You know what I'm saying? Because throwing money at the problem does not always make the issue better if people really don't know or have the resources to, or what to do with that money. I might be giving him $20, but he might not even know how to budget $20 to make it stretch. So that $20 means nothing. I'd rather give him resources or him call me and me be able to help you find a job where you can have your own income.
It depends though too what that individual is looking for. Because a lot of them, a lot of them, they don't want more than just, I want to come out on this corner and give $20 so I can get food and then go about my day.
And I think that's true. And that's why I said you got to be careful of who really wants to be helped.
Right.
Because
now, if it's a sign saying I'm a refugee, I got to feed my family, whatever.
But sometimes I be seeing those signs and I can be like,
honestly, I do. I can't say hate. Hate is a very strong word. I don't hate really much of anything. I dislike when I see someone panhandling with an animal.
Oh,
because I'm for one, okay, if you don't get enough money to feed yourself, are you accurately feeding that animal?
Listen, sorry, Peter, because Susie would have been some shrimp fried rice.
Yeah, for real. No, for real. But then again, I think too, I'm if you have this animal and the animal don't seem like it's dirty and malnourished, you probably have more money
than a companion.
No, I think a lot of them I look at I know you got better suitable places to be. If that dog got all this flag on his neck and look all nice and
he looked clean, took a bath.
You somewhere.
What you doing?
You somewhere. There's a lot of money to be made on these corners.
Listen.
I'm telling you.
Every job is hired right now. It depends on how bad you really want it. Look, y'all, I know we jumped in and we got straight serious on this Monday.
We have a lot to say.
It ain't even been 7 minutes, but we in here, okay? But it depends on how bad you want it because there's so many jobs that's hiring right now. Why can't you get a job?
You can.
Okay, you may not have a place to stay, but at least you have checks. Okay, you go to work. You'll be homeless for at least a week or two, but then you'll have some money for that second week to be able to buy you something.
Well, then here comes the problem of will a place hire someone who doesn't have an address?
Yeah.
There's a lot of places that won't.
Okay.
There's a lot of places that
Frank Gallagher, he found the address.
Don't you?
He found
that is the most improbable. That man was a cockroach, and he just always find a way to survive.
He was the cockroach that made that money, though.
He did
Frank Gallagher always had a drink. He always had a bed to lay. He always had a hustle. Okay, listen.
That happens more often than you think too. Kim said a homeless person got mad once when a friend of mine tried to give them dog food for the dog instead of money for them.
How you gonna get mad because I'm trying to feed your dog?
Because people out there is ridiculous.
But how are you gonna give dog food over human. That's the whole like.
Yeah.
Is a dog more important than a human's life?
A lot of people think so.
But you don't
a lot of people think so. Like, imagine if there was a puppy and a human on the edge of a cliff. Who would you say? They'll probably grab a puppy. They'll probably grab a puppy.
Like Blue's Clues.
Honestly, a lot of people
jacked
would.
up, y'all. That's bullshit. And listen. Everybody deserves to live. Everybody deserves, equality.
So does Fido.
You know what I'm saying?
Fido deserved to live
Who is
too.
Fido?
Whoever the dog that's over the cliff.
Like he was talking about Toto.
No, that him too.
Wasn't that a dog?
That was the dog in Wizard of Oz.
Okay, I want to
That's
make
like
sure.
one of the most famous dogs in history.
I wanted to make sure.
Who is the most
I've
famous?
never really
Who's the
seen
most
that.
famous dog in history besides Clifford? I think Clifford probably takes the cake.
Toto?
I don't know, because some people haven't seen
The
it.
kid looks like a bell dog.
No.
Yeah.
Clifford the Big Red Dog is read in elementary school.
Clifford,
like
yeah.
so,
But
like outside of Clifford.
He looks like a bell.
For
A little
us, maybe.
chihuahua.
Old Yeller, maybe the white.
Who was
folks.
Old Yeller?
See.
Old Yeller.
Old Yeller.
I feel like that's
I've heard
a
of
country
Old
movie. I've never seen it. What TV show is that from?
Well, I think it wasn't a TV show. I don't remember that. I think there was a movie.
I've never really watched Wizard of or The Oz from beginning to end.
The Oz is the black one.
I'm saying I've never watched either one of them from beginning to end. I've seen clippets, I've seen snippets. I know the storyline, but I don't remember. Shall I say? Because I probably did as a kid, but I don't remember watching it. Like,
if I'm being honest, thinking about it, I don't know if I have either.
Yeah,
I think the only reason I even watched The Wizard of Oz was to see if I could see the little dudes hanging in the background.
What dude?
You never heard of it? In The Wizard of Oz, there was one of the little people that played one of the little people. He hung himself on set, and there's in the movie they didn't notice it. I guess
is it real?
Slow
You
it
saw
down.
it?
Yeah, oh yeah. You slow it down, and you can see him.
Watch it. That's so
Watch it.
What's up, BJ? What's up, Bigaholics?
Wifey said it's an amazing movie. Old Yeller.
Old Yeller is the
Old
name of
Yeller.
the movie. It's about that
It's
dog.
about a dog. His name's
Okay.
Old Yeller.
What was that Disney Channel movie about that dog?
Air Bud.
Air Bud.
Air Bud was a good one.
Air Bud and the Dalmatians.
The 101 Dalmatians.
Dalmatians. Yeah, but yeah, y'all. So it's been a lot going on, a lot happening over the last couple of weeks. Big Holics, were you watching us from?
Yeah.
You knew. I ain't never seen you before.
I'm not.
Let me stop talking like that, because sometimes when I go back and I watch our lives, I'm like,
Why was I so ghetto? And it's funny too. That seems to be your live voice. Like, only when you start interacting with whoever's talking to you on live.
It's so bad. I watched another video and I was like, maybe I need to articulate my words a little bit better.
It depends on where you're looking.
Jersey City.
Like, you looking over here, you get all articulate. If you're talking you're talking to the right, you get all articulate. As soon as you look up at that live camera, hey, what's up there? What's up, my live?
Big Holic said, I sound good. Thank you. Thank you.
Aw.
He's from Jersey City.
You got some liars on your live.
Jersey.
Liars on your live. Liars on your live. Let
He
me
said
say
I'm
liars on live. Lies on live. Let me say lies on live. Lies on. Hey, we should do a segment called Lies on Live.
And we should point out people.
Where we yes, we can call people out. And then 2, we can do like a 2 truths and a lie kind of segment.
Oh, see what I'm lying about?
Lies
and
on
then
live.
we can use that song, that part from Young Jock where like point them out, point them out, point them out, point them out. And then we just start like telling people
I was thinking,
who lied.
Liar, 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 he's a liar. You never heard that song? It's new. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look
Did you just make that up and then tell me it's new?
Oh my! No.
Oh, I thought you just made that up and was like,
ma'am.
"Oh, it's new," because you wanted me to believe it.
I know I
really
didn't execute the song correctly, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a new song. You know the song.
Do I?
You
Look,
do.
now here you go being like a black mama. You know what I'm
You
talking
know.
about. The song.
You know.
Like,
You know damn well.
No, I don't. No shame when they be doing that. They're like, I said Patricia. No,
You know.
I don't remember her.
You know.
You know the one that's no, because if
Yes,
I did, I would have said yes
Dude,
the first time. Yeah, that's just
it's a newer song too.
I have not really heard any new songs.
Man, and now the interwebs is acting weird, so I can't even look it up.
I told you. Everything has been, listen, I don't know what's been going on in the world, but things have been glitching. Like, I mean, glitchy. What's that song?
No, don't even try it. Because I just did a song. You don't know what so don't talk about. No,
but we heard this song together
I never
today.
Heard it.
Patty,
I don't know what you're talking about.
He get one a day. One penny point already for Cujo.
Never heard of it.
You know
Never heard of it. Sorry. What are you talking about?
Real quick, why could neither one of us think of the name of that song when we were talking?
I have no idea.
All I can remember is that one song.
Yeah.
So, that just popped into my head.
There's that.
But yeah. Oh, guys. So listen, we do kind of have a full fun show for you guys. Jay the Great will be joining us shortly whenever he makes his grand appearance. I should tag him.
He got to be fashionably late.
Yeah, y'all know he gonna come in here.
He's corporate now.
Dressed to impress.
Corporate. I forgot. I didn't know he was coming in, and if I knew he was coming in, I would have dressed to the nines.
How about me too?
Because I always said I would not let him outdress me when we're on the radio together. So, disclaimer, folks, I did not know today was the day, so I will not. I'm not holding myself to the outdressing Jay standard that I previously said I would.
No, yeah, Jay is
not my fault.
He'll be joining us. We'll be talking some new ventures that he is taking and some new endeavors that he is dealing with. I want to give a shout out a little bit later to my best friend, sister cousin.
Uh-oh.
So I got to give a birthday shout out to her. Today is her birthday. Oh, my best friend, sister cousin.
Got it.
Yeah.
I had to follow it back and just make sure I knew who was.
So
yeah.
I'm just gonna add her real quick.
You won't.
Because
you won't.
I have to give a segment for her. Okay.
Ooh, before I forget, and before Jay gets here, I want to take a little bit of time to let y'all know something very exciting that's happened in my life.
What up?
So for those of you that don't know, for the last 14 months of my life, I've been in a rental house because we had a house fire. So a lot of you do know this, maybe some of you don't. After 14 long months, I should be moving back home tomorrow.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me put some claws in it.
Oh man. I'm so happy. Announcements. That's my favorite one.
People of America. He's moving on home.
I hope so. Now, knowing this company, there's always a chance.
Nope. We're claiming it. We're claiming it. Because every time we do that and something happens.
But here's the bad because here's the bad thing. Do you remember what I always say every time I get all positive about something and I'm all claiming it, something goes wrong? Yeah. I claimed Friday. I'm like,
but that's what happened.
I should go right. Why? Because I claimed it.
I
was like, nope, nothing's gonna go wrong. We deserve this win. True. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like anytime I get too overly confident about something, when somebody would say, no, I don't think like that, claim it, be positive. I'm like, I think this is a little overly, like you're not allowing for the chance of something to happen, which means you'll be more disappointed.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, fingers crossed, I really hope. Like what I always say is I don't see a reason why this wouldn't go this way.
But that's why you gotta just say, ain't no reason why. Okay.
No, because then that turns into ain't no reason why. You go from ain't no reason why we got this to I don't understand why.
They just said it's one more, please. I feel confident that Wednesday you will be like, hey, princess, we're moving, so I need this extra day.
No, I'm going to blow your phone up with videos of me running through my house.
And now you can send them to me.
Quickly. I won't be able to.
We won't have to convert them. They won't be distorted.
Nope. I can immediately upload them.
Mr. Cooper, I saw you inbox me, and I have not had a chance to get back to you.
As in, like, hanging with Mr. Cooper, Mr. Cooper?
No, the real Mr. Cooper. The Good Time fam, Mr. Cooper.
Man,
I'm
not mad about it, but I mean, that would have been cool to have.
Yes, we definitely got to do some more networking. I'm in between two phones right now, trying to transfer data from one phone to another phone. So some things are getting lost in the sauce.
Translation?
Yeah, so.
I swear nothing will be funnier to me than watching you struggle for 2 hours to find an app that would easily help you transfer apps when you could have just transferred the apps
guys.
In those 2 hours.
So I want to formally take this time
please do.
to let the folks know that I have left the galaxy lane.
Oh, hallelujah!
And I have became an Apple again.
So proud of you.
And don't get me wrong, it's heart-wrenching because I've been with Galaxy for a very long time. Samsung, S9, S10, but then they just, they jumped out the gate and they just went Samsung 21, Samsung 22, and I'm like, whoa, what a 12, 13?
Because they track all of them phones, they probably released them in like small batches, and they're like, this phone sucks. Like, all right, let's move on to the next one.
It's just like, don't get me wrong. I completely love Samsung, the capability, because I'm a Google person. I love Google.
Right.
And I love their whole Microsoft
But Apple
software.
has the Google capabilities too.
And Apple does, but that's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
And at first, I was an Apple girl. Like, I used to be Apple all the time. But making that transition, it was just like, okay, the Samsung 22 and the Samsung 21 was the same price as the iPhone 13 or 12. So it's like, if I'm going to pay that price, I'm going to go with the Apple.
And it's a matter of, I think for me, when I first made the switch over, it had everything to do with service over in the desert when I was deployed.
Oh, gotcha.
And so it was like, I had a Apple, I had an iPod, and I had Samsung phones and all that. So the Samsung phones it was like impossible to reach home on those. And there was a bunch of other stuff that was going wrong. So I switched over to Apple. Primarily because Find My iPhone, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The fact that you can use that app and find your phone, I'm like, why wouldn't I want that?
Right.
So I made the switch over, and it wasn't until recently I switched over my computer from HP to Mac and all that.
Yeah, because once you have one, you might as well get the other.
The connectivity is just.
So, I got the AirPods, my watch.
And now FaceTime too. Like being able to FaceTime is.
Yeah, with the Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. So I've made a transition to iPhone. So I'm trying to get used to working an iPhone again. And yes, I was trying to figure out an app that helps me transfer all of my apps and information to my iPhone, and it's been like 2 hours and I still haven't found one.
And in the meantime, she downloaded like 17 apps to try to not have to download all.
And I guess I could just download the app. He said, "I'm the real Mr. Cooper who is suing Chris Brown. The other dude is Mark Curry."
Ooh, suing Chris Brown.
What he do? What do you do that for? What do you do that for? What happened? Send me the deets. I need the tea.
For real.
I need the tea.
Let us know before they try to say it on the other news, so we can say it correctly.
We need a first class.
Let us break it correctly.
Breaking news. Jiffy has salmonella.
Oh man, I seen that.
And that wasn't really like a.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to bring that up. Because we were talking about the whole Lucky Charms thing.
Yeah, we were.
And now, so it's like these germs are targeting kids.
And that it's crazy because that's the reason of the formula shortage. Because a lot of the formula was linked to salmonella. But what's happening is, this is my thought process of what's happening, right? All of these jobs are saying that they can't find workers. So the people who are working, they are not caring for the food and the products as they're packaging it like they would have. They're too overworked. So whereas they probably would be, having someone secure this and keep that separate, it's probably all getting all mashed together.
Yeah, but how is salmonella? It doesn't salmonella come from raw chicken?
I really don't know where salmonella come from. I was just talking to my mom about that the other day. I'm like, has anybody ever really caught salmonella?
Is it salmon nails? Salmonella? I don't know.
I from raw chicken.
That's what, I think it is. But
he said, Google Drake dropped from no guidance lawsuit will catch up soon.
Okay, Miss Cooper, if you want us to get our info from Google,
Okay.
you remember you told us to get our info
I'm about
from
to say,
Google, sir.
I need the truth straight
Yeah,
from the
I mean, I want to, but he probably can't say
not
much
right now,
because
not on
of,
live.
okay, but when this is all over, let us get the exclusive.
Did your dog bite this?
My dog ate my homework.
Listen,
Do you need to charge something? Because I can give you this now.
Yeah, this about to die. I'm probably gonna go live in a minute, anyways.
She gonna get all that.
My son, my oldest son, he literally, and I'm giving him the permission to be able to use this at school to say my brother ate my homework because he literally has two brothers that eat paper, and I know the teacher wouldn't believe him. But it would be the 100% true.
Yeah, because Maddox and Kai both like to eat books.
Yes.
So
and they eat up all his stuff. So yeah, I'm sorry, son.
What did he say?
He said Google Drake dropped from no guidance lawsuit. I got it, girl, you got it.
Is that song?
Yeah. I baby living in a little working. No, it's not put the work in. But listen, y'all, we got a lot going on today. Like I said, Jay the Great will be joining us soon. Oh, my birthday shout out to my sister girl. He said, really Google it right now. No, he's Googling it right now on his phone. That's why he was asking for the proper.
Oh, trust me, I'm not trying to clown you, sir. I just want to know what's up.
Yeah, we trying to figure out
why is it so little?
What's going on?
Oh my goodness!
Is it one of those other tabs?
Yeah, I think so. I still don't know how to really use this phone.
Oh, because it's
look like this. Why is it like that? It won't get large.
Oh, because you clicked on something.
I did not. I did not. I ain't do that, Rhonda. See.
There you go. See, look, I know how to work Androids like that. He said, tell me.
Oh. Brandon Cooper.
Yeah.
Drake has been dropped from the no guidance copyright lawsuit. Last December, Drake and Chris Brown were sued for copyright infringement by a pair of songwriters, Brandon Cooper and Timothy Valentine, who alleged the song steals from the 2016 track "I Love Your Dress." Wow. Okay. Well, you definitely gonna have to come through whenever this gets resolved and give the exclusive on how all that went.
For 1-1
and I'm glad you're doing your thing, sir. Because a lot of people get, especially artists of that magnitude.
Yeah, they get gypped over because they don't have the proper legal.
And they don't have the finances to get lawyers to fight people with deep pockets. So it's good that people are out here trying to fight for their art and fight for their rights. And I'll always stand behind somebody that has a claim to something like that and they actually go for it. So I hope it works out in your favor, sir.
Yes, sir.
Indubitably. It's been a good Monday. It is feeling kind of Monday-y, but it has been a good Monday. Tomorrow might be a life-changing day for me. I get to sit with my brother Jay. Yeah, man.
It's gonna be
very excited. The wifey and I have a very special weekend ahead. Very, very happy. Hey.
What's the song? Do you remember who that is? It's our anniversary.
Yeah, it was Tony, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't. Oh, tomorrow will come and
girl, I can't wait. It's our anniversary.
All right, that's
you're forgetting the best part. Do you know what today is? It's our anniversary. Sunday. I always get them back up.
What date
the
is
29th.
That? May 29th.
Yes. And the anniversary is on the 27th. My wife's birthday is the 29th. I always get the 2 days mixed up.
So wait, okay. Y'all got married a couple days after her birthday?
Our anniversary that week is when I asked her to be my girl.
No, I was asking because that ended up happening to me and my husband. My birthday is the 17th and our wedding anniversary is the 21st. But our actual metaversary is in June.
So our wedding anniversary is September 9th. It was 9/9/19. So September 9th is but last year we forgot. So I ended up going to the store getting her some flowers or whatever because I get her flowers randomly. We celebrate each other every day.
Oh.
You know, we don't need that one day a year that we celebrate our love. For real. Every day. But that's the one that we always forget. I don't really count that as our anniversary.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't really either because, I mean, that's not symbolizing how long we've technically been together.
And I've never understood that because I'm like, there's people that have been together for 4 or 5 years and then they get married. And I'm like, you're going to celebrate 1 year of marriage versus 6 years of building this relationship?
Got so many people who will be like, oh, let's just scrap that anniversary.
No, that's the part that matters.
Yeah.
You writing down that piece of paper saying y'all are Mr. and Mrs. is so insequential to everything y'all have been through prior to that moment. And a lot of people put far too much weight on that day and on that ring. And they just, you know, oop on everything else. I'm like, that makes no sense to me.
It's too late.
Tying a knot, quote unquote, to me, was the smallest part of our relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
Of course, I love to be able to call her my wife, but I'm telling you, she was my wife before those papers ever got signed.
Oh, and that's all that matters, okay? What's really in the heart from the start.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's up, then it's stuck.
If it's up, then it's up. Then it's up, then it's stuck. Gotta play it safe. No face, no case. Ah. That's what he says in the song.
Oh. Yeah, you know Cardi B get all like that.
There
was something else I wanted to tell you too, and I don't remember what it is now. No, I don't know. Every time you start talking about Cardi B, my mind goes blank.
You know, she's really been chill the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And you know, that's cool. I mean, that's what happens when you have kids. You know what I'm saying? You gotta fall back.
I'm glad.
You gotta be in mommy mode.
I'm really glad. And I know she's probably working on some music too.
Yeah, I'm hoping because the last album was quite some time.
I don't know.
Like, we need something new. But she just keeps dropping features. Like,
nothing wrong with that. She's still getting her bag. And then Offset was doing his thing in the meantime while she wasn't doing hers.
And that's one thing that I've even noticed, and I just, know when you are in a relationship and, you gotta pick and choose who's more busier one moment and who's not, because especially when you have kids, you really have to take that into consideration because both you can't always be out working because that's going to cost. Who's going to, keep the kids? Who's going to keep the kids grounded? Especially if your kids are in school and stuff. You can't just be taking them up on the road.
People don't realize too. I don't think that they realize every movie you see where like the dad was gone all the time because he was working so hard and da. It's the same line that always happens. But you never had time for us. Well, I was providing for you. What did you want me to do? Da. And I get that struggle. I really do because my wife worked constantly for a while there when she was in the jail. And I was like, man, I feel like an abandoned housewife. I get it for real. She would come home. She would get home from work. We would have dinner real quick. And then she had to go to bed because she had to wake up at 2 a.m. if she wanted to go work out. And she was gone again. I'm like, dude. Now imagine both parents. I know some couples that worked in that jail, both of them worked there, and their schedules were equally as crazy, and they were on opposite shifts. So they legitimately were shifts passing the night. One would be coming in to go to sleep.
That's
the other one would
me
be
and
leaving.
David pretty much.
It's crazy.
My off days are the weekends. His is Monday, Tuesday. So we're still always passing each other. He works from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So by the time I'm getting home, he's going to work. So
I just don't know. I have a very unique life. My wife is able to be a stay-at-home mother. I'm home a lot. You know what I mean? I don't.
Being able to have that flexibility because, like I said, no matter how much or how busy you guys are, kids still at least need one parent, at either or of the time. And it may vary, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it has to be all the time or the mom's going to be there 24/7, but on certain days when mom is there, mom is there. You know what I'm saying? It weighs.
I typically try to make sure she doesn't have to do anything. So, especially dealing with the babies, I don't want to have to cart the babies around or whatever. So, as much as possible, like days like today, I took the kids to school so she could have the van in case she needed to go anywhere with the babies or to pick up Gabriel. And I took the Sonata.
That's so nice.
Yeah, we got it worked out.
That's so thoughtful.
It's just like we were talking about how the babies don't sleep in their cribs or whatever. And we want them to sleep by themselves or whatever and not have that attachment. But unlike a lot of other families, one or both of us are there all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not like we need them to be self-sufficient and be able to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't mind them sleeping with me as long as they stop moving so dang much.
Hey, look, that's how I am, okay? If it's going to make them sleep longer,
Right.
I'm going to leave them right.
Because people are like, well, just let them cry. Like, you can really sit there and sleep through that? I'm trying to get some sleep, my G. That means I got to pick him up so he goes to sleep faster and I can get a couple extra Z's. I'm with it.
Listen, my kids, my tiny one, he sleeps
My little guys.
so wild.
They all do.
I mean, he's like rolling and rolling and rolling in the
Yeah.
middle of the night. I'm like, dude, you're going to roll yourself right off this bed.
Mhm.
Like, you're going to be on the floor, bro.
That's the rough part. That's why I'm excited to, I got to get off this line. People who could stop calling me.
Oh, and then the sound goes
Yeah.
out. You doodle head dummy. Hey, so
Doodle
you
Brown.
boy.
Doodle Brown. Doodle
Jay
Brown.
late.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm
If
talking
you're
about him.
early, you are on
Yeah,
time.
I'm talking about him. Oh, okay. Well, before Jay gets here, let me clean my phone off because I want to make this public. I want to take a bit with Cardi B and doing the Cardi B. I don't know why I like that song.
Oh, it said he mentioned me in his status. What do you say about me? I wonder if
Who?
you're listening. I don't know. It said Jay mentioned me in something. And I'm scared to see what it is.
Oh, I mentioned him in my story too.
Oh.
But
Man, the interwebs, man.
I know. Is it kicking you off too?
No, I got off a lot because somebody called, but I've been having, so I don't even think it's internet.
No, it is because this keeps
Really?
loading. Yeah, StreamYard.
But it's not only here though. So as of late, like the last week or so, when I'm on my regular data, my cellular data,
Mm-hmm.
it's been like non-existent. And this phone is supposed to have 5G.
Oh, mine do too.
So I don't understand if it's, now I know I'm out of high-speed data.
Oh, yeah, so it's just using the regular
So I'm
data.
wondering if it, but I got like no bars ever now.
Huh, no bars.
No
Get
bars.
it.
I got all
I
the
got all the
bars,
bars.
AB.
I got all the bars.
I got all the bars,
Okay, I'm going to
AB.
take this charger out, and I'm going to do this over here because that's
You said you have an
look at my
announcement?
face. Yeah, I just want to give my sister, cousin, brother, sister, son, birthday love. I'm explaining in a minute, okay? I'm about to explain what she is. What she is. Okay, so, because I want to tag her in this.
Okay.
Okay, so boom. I want to give a birthday shout out to my best friend's sister cousin. And the reason why I call her best friend sister cousin is because we started off as friends because my blood cousin and her were dating since like 9th grade. And so we started off as friends, but then it was like she's dating my cousin. So now she's like my cousin. Well, over the last couple of years, we became like sisters. Oh, I had to let my seat down. It was too high. We became like sisters. And when I say sisters, I mean this girl has my front, back, side. Like we don't have to talk every single day. We don't have to hang every single day, but she never misses an important beat in my life. Childbirth, deliveries, weddings,
Freestyle
birthdays,
beats,
whatever. So
mixtape
I want to give a
beats.
happy birthday shout out to my kid's godmommy and my best friend's sister cousin, Noonie. Her name is Deanna, but I call her Noonie.
Hey,
But happy birthday, Noonie. Hurry up and call me so we can figure out some drinking. I gotta hurry up and get off work. I kept telling her like,
we gonna go on song break at 5:30.
let me know like if I need to call off sick today. And she called off, but yeah, so that's my plug love. I don't have too many friends
Best friend, sister
in my life. Yeah. I don't have too many good people that I can say that I've known for a long time that we've been friends, but
yeah,
she is definitely one of them.
I have a lot of people that I can say I've known for a long time, but as far as like calling them friends, like still calling them friends or whatnot, I don't know. I think I'm just over it.
The man
Hey!
we were just talking about you. We
I've
said
been here.
Jay.
Y'all just don't come out and get guests.
We said Jay late.
I was
Where
sitting in
he
the
at?
lobby.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Or do I not get the treatment
The
like a
intern
guest?
didn't tell us she was
You
here.
see what I'm saying? I had to make my own drink out
The
there.
intern was supposed to let us know.
Y'all don't
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
greet
I'm
me.
sorry. We gonna look at him like Jay late. Where he at?
I'm sitting out there like, well, Is this how y'all do all guests?
No,
Sorry.
because we don't usually let people in our
See what I'm saying? I'm like, y'all supposed to come out. How
You
you
lucky.
doing?
Look,
Welcome to the station.
you lucky.
I don't get the right type of
Welcome to
treatment.
the station.
Hey,
Hey
well,
man, I'm a guest today.
You is the thing. Okay, that's true. That's
I'm a
true.
guest.
Well, hold on, y'all. Since we have a guest, hold on.
Can I get me a bottle of water? It's hot as hell in here.
it is. I've said that earlier. I don't understand why it's so crispy in
Listen.
here.
It's because Princess got low blood. She be...
Jay the Great is in the building,
I have an
y'all.
announcement to make.
What it do, good brother? What's up, man? Huh?
Buddy?
What's going on?
Welcome back to the slums,
What's
man.
up, Princess?
Look, welcome back to the slums, bro.
Now we're on live stream.
Do I get headphones? Put on headphones?
See, I gave you the pink
Can
ones
I
on
act
purpose.
like? Can I act like you know?
I gave you the pink ones on purpose.
He did. He
Because
said,
Hey man, tuck me and wear pink.
he said, I know Jay gonna come in and want to wear headphones.
Look, that's how I figured.
Yeah,
He probably
tuck
made
me
these
in.
pink ones.
I gotta hear my voice. I like to hear my voice.
Hey man,
So
no,
we
I'm
are
old
on
school.
live stream, but the interwebs have been acting majorly crazy
'Cause all these
today
storms
with all
on
the
the stuff,
storms
yeah.
and all that
It's
on
cool.
the West Coast.
It's all
So,
good. On the day I come in here, it's all good.
you know, but we have the audio. You know, we got the audio.
That's
all that
matter.
Actual factual.
That's all that matters, baby. I'm here.
Actual
How does it feel to
factual.
be back in the studio, Jay?
Man,
I know it's been a
vibe.
while.
Back
It's a
against
vibe.
back against your basic folks.
Yeah.
Man, somebody was sitting here that was tall, wasn't it?
But I thought
Woo! You
I
know,
had to
still-
I took that apart, so because we had a different setup in here.
I'm
for the
still
interview
short.
earlier.
I'm sorry if anybody heard all this. I'm still short.
You on a different chair. See, now, let me ask you this
I
too.
haven't got my growth
When have
spurt
you
yet.
ever sat here doing radio?
Never.
Yeah.
It's way different sitting there. It's like a
Over
whole
here.
different
I
like
see.
aura. It's a whole different. The couple times that I've had to do it myself, like I even like sit different. I talk different. I was
Yeah.
like, what in the?
When you walk this way,
This is a little
oh,
wild.
sorry.
And it's a little nervous. Like when I sat here, it's a difference when you sit over there producing the show.
It's way different. I feel like you feel like you have so much more control over there,
Yeah.
but over here it's like you're feeling
so
like you
much
kind of
control over
Oh,
here.
dang.
You gotta,
coming from the woman who just be doing a million things at one time and don't
yeah,
know what's
working the
going
stream yard,
on.
I'm going live, and I'm doing this stuff
Yeah,
too.
What's going on though, y'all? Zoom, zoom.
Nothing
you
much.
know,
Okay, so
it's
I
a
tagged
vibe.
you so that you can post that you're on with us. 'Cause-
You mean I tagged y'all?
No, we tagged you too. You didn't get our live post that we added you in.
No, I just tagged y'all.
See,
Oh.
see, everybody
Tagged
on
y'all
our
first.
on the StreamYard knows, and you got tagged in it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on the live,
I
on the
don't
interweb live.
know.
All right, boom. That's
I tagged y'all. I gotta be careful. Y'all got cameras everywhere. I want to be like Kanye when he did his phone
Oh no!
and
Listen,
everybody saw
that
it.
happened to him one time. I was
Yeah.
like, Cujo, we can see your screen, so we had to like lower the.
Look,
The
she act like I was
Give me
scared. I don't
give me
care.
some pictures with my bro right here. Wow.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me see if my arm long enough for you, Princess.
So we can go that way.
Yeah. Let's see. Do I get? Do I
We
got
on,
it?
we on a.
There we go.
We in
There
there.
you
Y'all,
go.
they literally got me with the pink headphones, like straight
I
up.
had to.
Dude.
It's okay.
I'm
You
sorry.
look, you look
I
great.
had to do it.
I'm
Oh.
straight up in here with.
I had to do it, man.
They got me with the pink headphones. Hey man, but fly
It
guys
actually-
wear pink.
It matches the
They do.
outfit. See, look,
Yeah, man.
you got a
I'm
little
good.
bit of like some purple pinkish in the
Look
shirt
at
too.
this. Look how he did.
I was thinking about him. I had a feeling he would come in here.
This is
one
a nice, this is a
Look
nice
at
deal, you
this.
guys. So.
They got me with the pink joints on. I'm cool though. I'm gonna
Yeah,
make
man.
it work.
So look,
Work,
let's get
work.
right to the bread.
I was gonna say,
Let's get right to the
what
bread of
has
the
been
conversation.
up? I mean, Jay like literally ghosted us. He was
Oh,
like,
man.
"I will not be around you Benogans people."
And it honestly was like pretty quick too. He was like, "So guess what, y'all? I'm out this bitch." Well, I was like, "Wait a minute, what you mean?" He was like, "Yeah, I gotta go do other
I'm
things."
like, "We're gonna see you next
Look,
time
this is
now."
the part I missed about radio. You can sit at the
Yeah,
radio.
yeah, you actually could be you need a second to breathe, brother. Like you haven't
Woo!
slowed down
Lord,
in
jeez.
months.
Nah.
You thought it was busy sitting over there in that producer chair. Tell us a little bit about how much busier you've been, what you've been up to, what the people need to
Where you
know
been
from
at?
you.
What you up
Yeah,
to?
man. You haven't. Our listeners haven't heard
We
about
don't even
where
know.
you've been.
Actually, y'all, you know,
He told us he was going to get the milk, and he
I
never
know.
came.
Yeah.
He threw us the whole cow. That's what he did.
Yeah.
He said,
I hit
"Figure it
y'all.
out."
I hit y'all with the line my daddy hit me with. I'll be right back. And seeing his ass
We're
since.
not-
It's
we're not
been
going there.
months.
We're not going there, okay?
So,
We're not going there.
First off, I want to congratulate YouTube, like what you two do, everybody on this network, even the young energy that you two have found. Saturday's shows is rocking. It has great energy.
Yes.
Listening to you two, I don't get a chance to comment as much, but I listen to y'all shows as much as I possibly can. And well, when I tell you, y'all make a person want to have a joint, I don't even smoke.
It's funny because you're not the only one who said that day. You know how many people hit us and was like,
because y'all topics be so good, it takes people there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's good radio, right?
Yeah.
That's good content.
We try.
And even the sports. Shouts out to 2K, Samuel Talks, Sapphire, everybody on the network. And y'all been doing an amazing job. And so that's what makes it easy for me to transition to go do other things, right? And so I think that's the part that I'm most proud of, and it's an honor, like to step away for a minute and not like I'm not gone from radio. As far as the day-to-day overseeing, I'm still heavily involved, making sure all the dues in the house and the business logistics is done.
Right. He's still be there like, it's dead air, what y'all doing?
Right.
Nobody in the bathroom too long.
So where I've been is transition, right? And so I love radio. I think radio is one of the most dynamic things in the world. But now I'm kind of transitioning to not day-to-day radio, more into a video show once a week. Right. And so people will still be able to catch the audio of the interviews that I'll do on our station and our podcast or pre-records or whatever. But the video part is where 9397 Network is transitioning me to. And so these individuals that I'm working with and being able to travel and meet so many amazing CEOs and presidents and shakers and movers, now I'll be able to sit down, interview them, and bring those interviews to a broader audience, which is amazing. So that's what I've been kind of doing. And so, like when you transition, you got to take a step back, right?
Take a minute. You got to get your feet wet.
But that's what I think.
Find a foundation.
I don't think the people that listen, like our dedicated listeners that are on the app that just listen to radio, I'm not sure if they even realize that 9397 Network is more than just the radio side. So like even for me, when I'm gonna date myself when it comes to the hot,
there we go, baby.
9 years ago, when I was listening to the Good Time Show and it was you two, and then you split off from the show, and I didn't understand what the dynamics were. I thought you bounced from the network. So when I came around, I'm like, dang, why you and Jay was beefing? Why you quit the show? You know what I mean? So I didn't even know. Just like people that listen will probably be like, oh, where's Jay? Why Jay ain't on the show no more? What's he doing? So Jay is still Jay is still very much the heart and soul of this family, and he's doing bigger things to get us to bigger places.
Well,
he's putting the ladder up for us to achieve.
Exactly. And I think that it gets, so I've never really told so much of me, right? And so when people meet Jada Great or this individual Jada Great, it's radio that they saw, right? And so this new generation is like, okay, we've been knowing Jada Great since 2008, 2009, right? Yes, we watched the Good Time Show and things of that nature. But I've been doing DJs and parties and radio since I was 15 years old, right? And so
they don't know that.
And so at some point, a brother got to go, like, even in the transitioning to the video part of it, I'm just really the test pilot. I'm the test dummy for it. I want to make sure that we have it set up correctly, make sure that it's formatted correctly, and then truthfully, I'm going to fade out of that and be more of just producing and directing it and bringing those amazing people to get interviewed. And then it'll be the Good Time Show doing that. It'll be Samuel Talks doing that. It'll be our shows on the weekends doing that. So now the key is to open up that floodgate and get all those amazing people in one pot and then start dispersing them to the network.
Call him Dr. Fade Out.
He
step in, he turn up, and he fade out.
Hey man, I
love that foundation.
I love, to be honest with you, I love doing press. But the aspect, like I don't miss producing radio. I thought I would, but I don't. Right? I don't miss, it's some topics that come out, and I'm like, damn it, if I was on radio today,
oh,
I'd be going ham. That part I miss.
It's there.
But I can still get that when I listen to you guys. I still can get that by producing and being heavily involved. But man, I've been doing this for so long.
I was gonna say that too. I'm like, it's not like you just started and then had to transition. Like you've been in this game for a long, long time, and I think that's one thing too that I'm excited for when we do these shows and stuff, telling about our stories. Mm-hmm. When you start doing these videos and stuff, talking to these CEOs, people are gonna be like, "Oh, where did he come from? Who is he?"
Right.
Yeah.
Not knowing the deep history you have and what you had to do to get to this position.
Yeah, and the sad part is, in the 90s, so many great things took place. But like in this day and age, you have technology, right? And so you can capture every moment and share it, right? And then you can download it and then bag it up to Google Chrome and Google Drives and all these different things, right? And the back then, and didn't nobody had that big ass camcorder.
Yeah.
It wasn't getting recorded.
Or the Polaroid, it wasn't getting recorded. And so you missed a lot of great moments. Now, it's a good and it's a bad to that. Because some things didn't need to be captured back then.
Right. Oh, and then too, people were, because not everybody had cameras. If somebody had a camera, nobody was thinking about it like that.
Yeah.
So they were still getting caught up.
Now the sad part is I get hurt because that means that the era where I had long hair, no one, right? So when I tell people that, everybody's like, you had hair. I'm like, I wasn't born bald head.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't born bald head.
You probably were.
But that's the only part I missed. Like, it wasn't enough pictures captured of me with hair.
But I guarantee you, once we get to a certain level of notoriety, which I feel like is coming in the next, 3 or 4 or 5 years,
people will start.
People will be like, "Oh, I got a picture of Jay from 1873."
And my guy Kyle, shouts out to Kyle, when he does that, like he'll pop up every so often with some pictures, Cousin E, a lot of individuals. So yeah, it is pictures that float around. But I threw my first party in 1994. So in 1994, either the end of 93, either the end of 93 or the early of 94, I threw my first party. And since then, I had never stopped. I've been behind the microphone all through high school. I host all the talent shows. I used to do all the school news and editorial things. I used to go around and do all the speeches with Ewell Perkison and General Motors back in the early 90s. So I've been behind the microphone and in front of people damn near my whole life. Mm-hmm. So it's cool in the sense to now because I like to watch. Yeah. I like to watch young people and individuals who are better than me, smarter than me, get that opportunity. Mm-hmm. I never wanted to be that old head who hogs the seat. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's like, okay, I got this seat, so let me move out the way, give my wisdom so the next person can grow faster and better. Right. Yeah. So I like really the producing and the director part, which led me to the position I have now, where I'm able to open more doors, being a director of creative operations, a director to be able to open up markets and create avenues for people, right? Yeah. And not just hog an area, because I never wanted to be that guy who got, get older and you start looking corny because you're trying to act like you in the 20s. And
what that is that you have that they don't have is the lack of ego. Because people that want to sit in that seat are like, this is my seat. This is my throne. Yeah, and you would much rather take the joy of seeing a team succeed for the love of what we do, and not for your personal accolades, which you have many of. Yeah, and you know what I mean. You have many of them, but you don't live for those. You live for the joy of what we do, and I think that's what sets you apart.
And continuing to make new memories. We've always talked about this outside of radio. people who don't make new memories or don't achieve new things, they live off the past.
Right.
You continue to want to do better than the things that you achieved versus just living off that, like, you know, man, in 1994, I threw my first party. I was the man. Okay, it's 2024. What are you doing now? Like, not knocking anybody for that, but still chasing that hunger and never being satisfied with, not satisfied, but not being complacent with where you are, always wanting better.
Well, no, so I'm a firm believer, and I've always been a firm believer. No position, no seat, no field is ours, right? It's not ours. It's a part-time gig in this world, right? And it's supposed to be, because we're supposed to constantly grow and evolve, right? And so we all can reach that sweet spot. But if you ever watch history and how history repeats itself, you watch people that don't know how to move on. Once they hit that ceiling, after that, it's the only way for you to go now is down, because you didn't transition, right? And so I never wanted to be that guy where it's like I found my sweet spot, and then I got comfortable, and I never elevated myself. And then next thing you know, you start seeing other people come, and now that's when regret, jealousy, envy come, because now the young people come up and they're not respecting you in that lane. And it's not that they don't have no respect for you in that lane. It's like, get your old ass out the way, right?
Honestly, like, there's people, I'm not gonna say no names, but there are people that we all know in this specific industry that are still in their seats in it. At one point, they were the biggest DJs or radio personalities in the world, and now they're trying to get with the time to do the trends and all the, and it's sad to see.
And it's looking kind of
it's sad to see.
And here's the thing: you can still do that and have fun, right? Like, because we all grow and learn at different paces, right? And so, it definitely, I've been through that phase of, not knowing how to transition, because transitioning is scary, right? When you transition, you're starting.
Like a lot of 50-year-olds.
So people think that when you transition, you're starting over. Actually, you're not starting over. The older we get and the more seasoned we get, when you switch lanes, you're starting from that mentality, right? But the scare of switching lanes, I think a lot of people is afraid of, because, it's like when I left the party industry, the concert industry, the event planning industry, when I left working with celebs, I jumped into a different field. I ain't know nobody. So all the people I could hit up, because it's a difference. Like, when you're an artist, and anyone out here, if you're a painter, clothing designer, artist, whatever you in, when you jump into another lane, that resume and that catalog in that other world really don't hold no weight over here, right? And so when I transitioned over to the business world and started going to school, it was like it didn't hold weight when I was saying, I worked with this artist, or I worked with, I'm around developers who make 250 million. So those names didn't hold no weight. So I couldn't go in that field like, I work with it, and they were like, great. Right. Exactly.
Do you have the specs for this? Sure.
For real.
And again, a lot of that fear, and the theme, I think my theme today is going to be ego, because I've been talking about it a lot lately, and what everybody's been talking about in the world. The fear of switching lanes is because you've gotten yourself to where you feel big where you are, and going back to feeling small or working for somebody or having to come from the bottom again. But I'm too good for that. Right. Like, for example, when I got out of the military and I took that uniform off. Do you know how hard it was for me to do anything but be called sir? Wow. Because I came from being an E5. So if you're younger than me, or when I was in the military, you would have been a subordinate of mine. You are by requirement, I am sir, right? So now I go to some dead end job that I have to work at, doing dead end work.
You're like, come on, boy.
That means absolutely nothing after having this grand mission of serving this country for its safety. Now I'm cooking gyros for some dude who's making me mop the floor, and I got to call him sir. It's really hard.
That's another.
It's really hard.
That's a show within itself, and that should never happen. Right. The sacrifice that you do and have done and given for this country, that shows we still have a long way to go, because anyone that goes and represents for this country and puts their life on the line, and send their families through that trauma of not knowing if you're going to make it back safe or with all your limbs or mentally. Not just mentally. They should never have to work, right? Should have unlimited health care. You dig what I'm saying? And so those are the things that
whole showing itself.
But those are the things that you behind the mic can bring that attention to.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm more interested with, because I get to meet so many CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. I get to work around these guys every single day, be on Zoom with them. And so that's what I'm intrigued about now, being able to bring them to these type of shows, bring them to these type of networks, and let them talk and interview them. Because believe it or not, there's more people out here with money looking to help and change. There's just a disconnect of how we get to them. And I think that's what I've been blessed with.
We were talking about that earlier, about a lot of people trying to throw money at problems. And the thing is, I think there's a big disparity too when people that don't have money look at all these people that do, and they're like, well, you can do this with your money and you can do that with your money. But then at the same time, when they do throw money at something, you just throwing money at it. You don't really care about fixing it.
The problem is not them throwing the money at the problem is the pretenders who they throw the money to that don't do the right thing with it. Right? So I'm okay with a billionaire saying, listen, I can't come down there and holler at y'all, but here's $1 million. Perfect.
All right.
Because we can show you how to make that $1 million save a lot of lives, educate a lot of people. Most people fall short because they don't have the resources, they don't have the education, they don't have the connections. You know how many young people were basketball superstars who couldn't go to a Division I school, but don't have the resources to go play overseas, but don't have the resources to, you get what I'm saying? And so resources, even with business, you know how many smart cats got great business ideas? They may not know how to run a business, that got great ideas, but don't have the resources. Some of the courses I've taken, I've taken some courses that was 3-4 weeks. I've learned so much in it, how to build the capital, how to create the company, how to lock it and protect it, how to create a plan and sell it and still keep a percentage of, like, it's things that we don't know how to do, right? And then, I wish I could do this when I was in my 20s.
So I agree, and then I disagree, because I feel like the people who want to change, yes, they sometimes don't have the resources, but then you have another world of people who you don't know nothing about surgeries, but you want to Google YouTube for the best doctor. So it's like the internet and things have changed so much to where it's like nowadays you can place yourself in some line of the area that you want to be in, and just hope that somebody in that area will help you out.
This day and age,
it's too wide.
With all the technology that's out now, and in this day and age, I think people have taken being independent to literally. And they've taken it to a level where they can't ask for help to anybody that could potentially
help them.
Right. Like they don't want to seem like they need anybody, because this whole independence movement,
they're living a facade.
Which doesn't, so I had to learn it, right? You're right. People move off this, I'm independent, right? So there's a independent entrepreneur, and then there's an independent entrepreneur person. and no one gets where they need to go by themselves. Now, you can be independent. What independent means is you sat down, you carved out a demographic and a plan. That means you work, and look, I know this is gonna sound like I'm sounding corny, but in the book and so many things I've talked about when I was on my show. Listen, you have to time manage.
It's funny.
He lived in the past.
I did that plug last week, and you were listening.
I'm gonna break it down real quick to anybody that's listening. Get a notepad.
Or get the How to Change for the Better book by Jada Grace on Amazon and Bird.
There you go. But here's the tool guide, right? And it's not like difficult. So you got to time manage. Wealthy people don't think they're better than you. They manage their time better, right? Churchill said, if you cannot entertain me and wow me in 45 seconds, it doesn't make sense for me to give you any more of my time, right? Get to your point. Get to the freaking facts. Don't sell me your ideals. Ideals means that you're spitting out stuff that's blurred in your mental. Get a piece of paper and write down your ideals. Then you do your research. Find out where your market is, how your niche is, etc. Ask yourself how long it's going to take you to get to this. Is it 3 to 5 years, right? That's your short term. Your midterm is 5 to 7. Your long term is 10 years. It takes you 10 years to build wealth, generational, and change your mindset. So what you have to do is you have to maximize your time. We all get 24 hours in a day. If you sleep 8 hours of them, you're already jacked up. You got to sleep 6 hours of them joints.
Wait, hold on, time out. Who you know sleeping 8 hours?
Man, listen,
Or
you got
6
people that sleeping 8 to 10 hours, bro. You got people that's sleeping 8 to 10 hours.
Keep
bro.
in mind, bro, I got 8 kids, 2 of which are 1 year old.
Oh,
Jay, I haven't slept a consecutive 60 minutes. And how? You said sleep 8 hours? Excuse me?
So let me break it down to anybody that's listening. If you want to be independent, to build a capital of a company that you can sell 49% of, because you want to keep 51%, or you want
majority
to
rule
control, right? If you want to build a brand or a capital of a company and keep 49% of it and make that company function and make money, here's what you got to do. You got to work 2 jobs. Sorry to tell you, I'm telling you right now. 16 hours of your day is already gone. Anybody that's listening that want to talk all this independent crap legally, all right? Because you got a lot of people that go out and try to do illegal stuff.
Right.
And here's another conversation. Here's another thing. The IRS and the feds are not dumb. They know the time pace that a company is supposed to grow within a certain financial range. If you didn't get no money left to you, you didn't win the lottery, or you didn't get no inheritance, they know how fast a company is supposed to go based upon certain numbers and breakdowns. Listen, I took a audit fraud examination course. Let me tell you, I have a certification in it. When I tell you the numbers are broken down to a science, a sweet tea. So you're not fooling nobody if you got illegal dollars. Now, if you want to do it legally, you need 2 jobs. The first 8-hour job is going to pay your home bills. Let me tell you why. Because if you can't cover your home bills, you're stressed. And if you're stressed, then you can't focus on building a brand, a business, or a legacy. So the first 8-hour gig is to pay all your home bills. Your second 8-hour gig is to only put into your business, not out the gate. Don't go spend money before you have done your research. You have went to go find out what audience and demographic you're going to target. Go do testers and fillers to see if your product is even good. Because everybody's ideal is great to them. That doesn't mean it's a great damn idea. True. All right. Now, so before you invest, take a financial course. Let me tell you why I say that. Because if you find one job and you can make at least 30 grand a year, that covers your household. Look, I'm talking low minimum, 30,000 that covers your bills. You got to live below your means. You can't live like a millionaire trying to become a millionaire. Your second gig, it could be a part-time gig. As long as you're making 15 to 20,000 a year on that, you pick up some extra hours, etc. So you take a financial course. You know why? Because if that second job is going to pay you anywhere from 15, 18 to 20,000 a year, you take that and you put that into a portfolio. Listen, you take that and you put that into a portfolio. I can't give you financial advice because you're not no clients and blah, blah, blah. So hypothetically, I'm just saying you would go more into maybe bonds, limit your stocks movement, whatever. But that money will sit on interest. That second year, you should have your plan put together, which means you got it written out. You pretty much identified your market, your target audience, or etc. By that second year closing, that 15 and 15 should be at 30, along with the interest that you made or putting it into a portfolio. You should have about $45,000 to $40,000. Now think about this. Most people say if I could go to the bank and get a $20,000 loan or $25,000 loan, I could start my own business. It will only take you 2 years of self-discipline. If you can't discipline yourself for 2 years, you're not an entrepreneur. Listen to what I'm saying.
We have been saying this for weeks. What's up, Eva? Eva in the building. Eva is fam. She's here this is the man that makes all of this happen.
Yeah,
don't believe that. So usually we would give y'all all of this game on Friday.
I'm gonna say they game on Monday. See, we starting a week.
Look, it's free. We're gonna call it Free Money Monday today. So it's funny you say all of this too, because this is exactly the conversation in layman's terms that I have with my sons. So my sons are 16-year-old twins. And they want to get into wholesale real estate because I told them, I started talking to them when they were 12 years old about getting out of high school and starting businesses and investing and all those kind of things, right? So they started looking up these things and whatnot, and they're really deep into looking it up, but they can't start until they're 18. So I'm like, you're even in a more perfect position because you have 2 full years to save money. They both work full time. You have all this 2 years to save money, and they're talking about buying buying a quadplex when they graduate, living in 2 of them, renting 2 out to cover their own bills. So I even hit them with a smarter idea. I go, listen, son, if you guys are going to do that and you purchase that quadplex, I, as your father, can't have you wasting money. So you 2 living in that quadplex is wasting 2 rents that you could be making and could be put in your pocket. I go, why don't you stay home for an additional 2 years after you are able to start doing this wholesale thing?
Yes.
And I broke it down just like you just said. I broke it down to them, and they were like, "Word, that."
Yeah. And easy. And so that's the nature of the industry, right? And so,
but you still need a team.
Yeah. No.
Like even if you do that perfectly to a T, you are still going to need someone on your squad. Or a number of people on your squad. I think that's the part about independence that people miss. Right. Being independent doesn't mean you do things by yourself. Yeah. You may have got the ball rolling by yourself, or you might have gathered all of these resources. But
hip hop has made, and not to cut you off, hip hop has made this word independent.
No, Boosie.
Yeah. Well, Eazy-E was doing it before Boosie, but
true. Very true.
Too Short, Luke Skywalker, but
Soulja Boy did first.
The music industry somehow, some way transferred that word into I do everything myself. I'm my own boss. Right. And don't get me wrong, everybody is a boss, right? And I think that
everybody has the potential.
In our culture, in our culture, it's not really translating to us correctly. Right. And so if you are, and it's anybody that's working a corporate job right now, if you're team lead, you're the boss over that team lead. Take pride in that. If you are head cashier, you're the boss, you're the head cashier. Take pride in it.
Right? 6 all day, baby.
You have to be an excellent follower before you can be an amazing leader. Yes. And I think none of us want, so when you go to that independent, well, that don't even make sense when you get to a certain capital, right? When you start grossing over 6 figures, you don't hear no wealthy people, nobody that's making over 125K.
They quickly say my partner.
Yeah, it's called private equity, right? Yeah. So you either have a private equity firm, a private equity company, managing partner, a majority partner. You don't say independent because that don't even make sense, right? So certain words, we use them, and don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking nobody, right? Even when I hear a man or a woman, vice versa, each or however, I'm independent. And it's that don't even make sense because we were put here to socialize and network with each other. We were put here to help. Someone. Do you understand that I receive more blessings helping and moving forward than I would if I just was name one selfish person that we talk about throughout our history that with a legacy. Everybody we talk about, Steve Jobs sacrificed his parenthood to change the digital world. And now look at iPhone and look how people,
I can't personally think of one.
Come on. This guy, Steve Jobs was he gave countless hours, right? When you look at people that change the way we live, the course of direction, one, they're in multiple lanes. So I don't know a billionaire or a multi-millionaire that only does one.
With a single stream of income. You can't.
Right. And so you can't be selfish and you can't be in this.
Look at Elon Musk. He's all over the place.
What does he not make money off of? I think the son is paying him royalties.
and so
but he got money. It don't matter.
So, and that's another thing, right? We become so consumed. A person can tell you more about someone else's life than they can about themselves. If you ask a person to talk about themselves, it's a very short conversation. But if you bring up anything else about talking about someone else, they can talk your ears off.
Because he probably did.
So,
he's but you can say it about yourself, huh?
That's a part of the mental health game that we talk about quite a bit on our show. Yeah. And and this is why I tell people, so there's a huge misconception about having emotional moments or having bad moments, right? A lot of people say, "Oh man, just smile, just you'll be fine. Don't worry about it." That's not how you should operate. You need to sit in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
You need to tap into those emotions. You need to deeply think about and negotiate with your own brain, because sitting outside of your brain too long, it disables you from being able to understand who you are.
Right.
And for you to, that's where I'm looking for, renegotiate the way your brain thinks and works, right? And that's why a lot of people shy away from digging into talking about themselves, because they have no clue what to say. They don't know themselves well enough to talk about themselves.
It's how we process.
That's how we're conditioned.
Right.
A lot of us are conditioned this way.
It's how
you know what I mean?
It's how we process.
Right.
Right. And so if you think about, and I can only speak on our project. So
say what?
If I know, right?
I didn't doubt it.
Wait, you said you're corporate and you're
right.
You say what? Those two things go together?
Listen, true story today. Because I want to train of thought. But true story, we was in a meeting today, an amazing circle. And so we're sitting in the meeting, Element 22, and the managing partner, owner, he was like, Jay, please tell your resume. And so like, I'm always bashful of it, right? So I'm like, and so I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, no, Jay, stop it. Like,
yeah,
you know, like you got
certifications from
Yale, from Harvard, you got an MBA, right? And so those things is dope, but I don't view myself that way, right?
You're very
and so like when I walk in the room or I talk to people, I relate based upon that, right?
Yeah.
And like, and so it's how we process things, right? And the reason I'm saying this is because if we grow up and someone make you mad, or you're not taught to control your emotions, and then you become a screamer or a yeller or ready to fight, and then they say you got anger management. If you are one that come up and you see where stress is involved and you relate stress to drinking, then you have a substance abuse problem. If you grow up and someone says something to you and you take everything personal, and then, so it's how we process.
Tell everybody my whole childhood, Jay.
Oh, stop it! No, we're all that. But see, here's the thing: what we don't realize is that how we're taught how to process and perceive things has everything to do with how we move forward. And so once I started realizing, like, okay, wait a minute, I can't give people that much power over my life, right? Like the old saying is every action has a reaction. And so I changed it up and said every action does not deserve a reaction.
True.
Right? Yeah. Like the older I'm getting now, it's like I don't have time to debate with someone that's not on the same mental level as me.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I know my path. I know my direction. That's what I want us to get to the youth. If the youth start seeing more brothers like you, sisters like Princess, so many other people that's on air out here doing their things, we don't bring the young youth and show them, look, you can live a great life and not be an athlete.
Yeah.
You can have a great life and not be out here and doing wrong. And so we don't show that. And so when you watch so much stuff, it's either it's sports, it's music, it's entertainment. And it's like, no, we got mentals too. And if we start showing that, then they can process things different. We can start showing them not to take everything so personal.
And taking advantage of certain programs that's out here. It's a lot of programs in every inner city that allows kids to go to the basketball playing games, to meet some of the players, because a lot of the kids in those neighborhoods feel like, oh, it's so far-fetched because it's on TV. It's unrealistic. Oh, that can never be me. Oh, I can never meet them. That's impossible. But if you get them exposed to those things at an early age, they'll understand, oh, they're just normal people like we are. If they can do it, I can do it too.
So that goes back to resources.
Yeah.
So think about when I first started talking, I said the first thing that damages us is we don't have resources.
Yeah.
We don't have financial understanding, right? And we don't really understand how to build a product and how to take our time. Sometimes it's not even meant for us to have a great idea and embark on it. Sometimes you got to learn how to create an idea and sell it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I know so many guys who make money off of creating. Listen, and I don't mean this in no disrespect. I don't mean this in no disrespect way at all. And I don't want this interview to come off in no type of way wrong. But a lot of individuals that have money may not have the best common sense or know how to connect dots.
Mm-hmm.
And so they look for those that can create the ideal and sell it to them.
Yeah.
Or come in and run the day for them. Now, it's very few that are smart, intelligent, have common sense, and could put two and two together. Now, to be honest with you, I'm around two of these dudes every single day, and it's just they're remarkable, and it shocks me to see how smart they are and how charismatic and integrity they are. But I met some individuals before I met these two, and I'm like, how the hell they got money? Like, you know, and they were like, what the hell?
But isn't it weird too?
I'm like, they're billionaires? Like, what the?
Almost the same as, like, you know how they say if a woman's beautiful, she's got to be crazy, like the crazy beautiful scale. It's almost like common sense, typically, right? As is, the more money you have, the dumber you seem to get.
In some cases,
because a lot of times you don't have to think for yourself.
I was gonna say that's why Paris Hilton gave that big old persona for all that time, and then people were like, "Well, she's really smart. She don't talk like that." Man. Like, because y'all just assumed because she had money, she was a dingbat.
Yeah.
No, she used your perceptions to make her more.
I'm around two individuals that put faith and trust in me.
Okay, so with you saying that, can you tell the people your position and like what you actually do so that people can have a better
understanding? You sound like a mom boss. I'm around you guys when I do the things that I do now that I'm not doing this thing in this one place that I be doing things in the meeting with the people. Right. Meeting with the people when I did things with billionaires.
Hey, a few times when I've met them far up north, I'm like, now wait a minute, where they taking me now?
I know. See, look, now
I'm
you joking.
Far up north. These are jokes.
They're all jokes.
No, look, these are all jokes. And no, so, and I did say it earlier, director of creative operations, and director, and so. With Element 22, it's a media company, and it's a full service marketing agency that handles everything from A to Z. And so what that means is that the parent companies is worth over $250 million company and owns maybe close to 15, 16, 17 different companies. They're private equities. And so every day I have the pleasure of going into the office and being able to work around an amazing team, two young, smart, charismatic cats. And so a part of it is because I have seasoned some years into the game. And another part of it is your resume, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't know how life can circle back. And so a lot of things I've done in the past and been able to work on and make some success became full circle. And so when the gentleman opened up that floodgate, they were very impressed. And not just what this network does here, 93.97 and Hot 93.97, but just the overall aspect, right? Mm-hmm. And because, our resume is a beautiful thing to have, but people still, no matter what, invest in you, right? It still boils down to you. It boils down to your integrity, your poise. And so when I tell people director of creative operations, you got to go look that up, and understand what that is. And that's what I mean. Like, we don't teach, young people that they could be so many different things, and so that's one of the steps into this phase. But then also outside of that, being general manager at the network, 93.97.
This man's got more hats.
I take pleasure
than Bobby Schmurr.
In that, but I also sit and I'm a huge advocate for going back to school. The network is being heavily involved in creating a digital platform school, because a lot of people want to go back to school, but one, is too expensive, and two, they don't want to be in school forever. And so
I'm very excited about us moving and into doing that, because I feel like you said you're a big advocate for doing school, and I think this is a conversation that the three of us are gonna have, because we talked about this before. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say I'm anti-go to college. I don't want to say that. But nope. I think this day and age, a bachelor's degree isn't what it used to be, right? So a lot of these kids that go to school for 4 years and rack up $100,000 in student loan debt, just to get that degree that everybody told them they needed, and then they're unable to find a job when they get home. They got all this debt, so now they're behind the curve and they're in the hole. And da, da, da. So back in the day, it was finish high school, go to college. Da, 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 da.
Right.
I don't believe somebody should jump right into college
And I was
these
just
days.
gonna say, do you believe the saying, who you know, gets you in the door, but your degrees keep you in the door?
All
That's how I feel.
And so both of you are on, and everybody has their opinion, right? And
Oh,
you're right.
absolutely.
So believe me, I've heard it all, and I used to be that guy,
Mhm.
right? Like, you know, I know this person, I got the connects here. I'm not going to build up debt. So here's the thing that's amazing about, you know, our culture, right? And I only say that because once again, I'm Black. I don't know how
Any other
other
thing.
people
Right.
view
You
stuff.
gotta
Right?
speak what you
So
know.
we'll go build up debt. We'll get credit cards.
Oh yeah.
We'll go get cars. I mean, we will rack up debt on things that has no appreciation for value with any option of return.
I took a
Crazy
loan out
mortgages.
so I could buy fourth quarter sports socks.
But-
I got a
but-
loan for that right
But
now.
let me tell you, but seriously, like all jokes aside, but then when we mention school, everybody becomes a financial advisor,
Yeah.
right? Oh, school is too. So let me tell her. And I broadcasted when I first went back to school.
Mhm.
I talked about it. I gave my opinion, and yes, everybody is not college material.
Mhm.
If you're not college material, then get into some type of certification courses. We're creating that for a digital platform where you can go for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, but no course will go over 4 weeks because some people don't have that time spending. And right, school shouldn't put you in debt. Now, that's something that we should still fight with our senators and our governors and our Congress, etc., because schools shouldn't put us in debt. That's a fact. But I can't say it doesn't make a difference. And the reason I say it is because I worked in the industry and I had reached the ceiling, right? And when I reached that ceiling,
Were you a roofer?
when I reached that ceiling, I still was not allowed at the table in certain meetings
Mhm.
because I was not looked at as qualified.
Because
so-
you didn't have.
So all those years I was doing marketing and promotion and sitting, you know, with Jay-Z's and that. But when it came down to the business talk,
Mhm.
on my resume, on my platform, I didn't have them alphabets behind my name.
Right.
So now the negotiation went on. And when they came out of that room of negotiation, I was only left to negotiate what they put on the table because I was never allowed to go in that room.
Right.
Now, that's a lot to be said on what you're going to school for. A lot of people go to college and get a degree just to say, I have a degree.
Yeah.
Are you researching what you're going for? Does it make money?
Right.
Is it a good investment? I know people in the stock market and they'll say, yeah, I'm in the stock market. Are you making money though?
Right.
Right?
And that's
I
the
know
point
people
I
in real
always-
estate.
that's the
Yeah,
point I
I own
always make.
houses. Are you making money
That's
though?
the point I always make. So I always pose that question the way I did just now. I don't think you need to go to college after school. And I see how people react to it.
Mhm.
Now, if whatever they say, if it doesn't end up with that thought,
Right.
it just depends on what you're studying.
There
right?
you go.
Then I'm like, there's no point in me continuing to talk to you.
Yeah.
Because here's the point of it all. A lot of jobs that you can get, that you can be very successful in, don't require those degrees, right?
Absolutely.
But then there are the jobs like lawyers and doctors and jobs of that nature, business jobs of that nature, that you must have those degrees
Yeah.
because of the knowledge that comes with those degrees.
Yeah.
But now think about what you just said, right? And so you know how long in our culture we've been saying lawyers, doctors.
Mhm.
Listen, you got architects.
Yeah.
You got people that run and own companies. Most of them are either lawyers, they have an MBA.
Mhm.
When you look at the individual who, and his name is slipping my mind, who started Starbucks, Howard.
Yeah.
He has a bachelor's. See, no one says that.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Howard Schultz.
Yep, Howard. I knew his first name. No one talks about the Michael Jordan brand and his billions and his, but no one talks about Jordan finishing school.
Yeah.
No one talks about
don't-
Magic Johnson.
Look, don't
finishing
get it
school.
twisted. I have my
No.
associates in business because I was always planning on starting and having my own business. So I took the initiative over these last. I went to college for the first time in 2004. So 18 years. So I've been off and on in college. I recently stopped going to my business courses because there was a course that was the most ridiculous non-informational course. Like it literally handed you a scenario about how you would help people in India trying to start a new market with, whatever the case was or whatever. It was really dumb. And I'm like, listen, I'm paying for this when I really want the information that's going to help me run my own business, right? So with my associates now, and I started a business at the time, and I was doing the X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, well, nobody's going to ask me for my degree while I'm running this business as long as my financials are correct, as long as da-da-da-da-da-da. So I decided it wasn't in my best interest for me to, you know what I mean? Because I, at that point, didn't feel like I needed that degree to go ahead and go forward with what I was doing. So, not to say some people won't need it, or you know what I mean?
It may have only gotten you to a certain level, though. So yeah, maybe not in business, but like you said, taking different certificate classes and things like that.
So let me say this, right? For every step and walk of life is different levels, right? And I say that because certain things we may not need to go over and beyond in a certain phase, right? And I agree. Some of those boring matters and some of those classes, we feel as if they're a waste of our time. That's only because we haven't came across a challenge that requires that.
Right.
It's better to have and not need. Yeah. To need and not have. And in business, when I was coming up in the early 90s and going into the 2000s, I was in business, but I did not understand business. And there's a difference. To understand business is to understand how the product is generated, where your target audience is, how you capitalize off of that, how you can sell, build the financial block off of it, how you can build shell companies, it's so many, listen.
There's a lot.
Listen, the thing is that you got to know what lane you're in. And so in some businesses, you may not need certain things, right? It's like the art game, and it's like real estate. It's knowing what you're into. Exactly. The hardest part with our culture is we think that there's a shortcut, and there is no shortcut. Our culture believes that there's some form of overnight success. Listen, anything that's built too quick, I'm afraid of.
Crumble.
I'm afraid of it. Anything that's built too quick, I'm living off legacy now. I need things that's going to live for 100 and 150 and 200 years, so that way generations can keep eating off of it and build it. But education, if you're going for the right things and you know what substance you need to help you get to the levels you want to go to, it's a great investment. Right. Yeah. But you can't invest into something without a plan. So yeah, if you're going to school to say, I'm going to school to get me a degree. In what? And that's why architects is out here getting paid right now. That's the exact Contractors are out here getting paid right now. HVAC cats is out here getting paid right now because people is building and materials and inflation. So hair people getting money. Listen, I remember when people laughed at chicks that wanted to go to school for hair. Now hair is racking up. That's why I say our system is set to have our young people fail because they rush them off after just becoming adults into this, what I call a lie of promised success. If you follow this, you graduate high school with good grades, you go to college and get your degree, you're going to be successful. I don't think that's true at all, and it's not fair to throw youth into that.
Which is why, as people and as humans, we have to redirect that teaching of trying to get them rushed out at 18.
I think you should. At least, if we could do it in high school, say sophomore year, having them have an apprentice class.
It's too late.
At sophomore year in high school,
it's too late. The brain has already started to form major opinions. We got to catch them in the 6th grade.
Yeah, but I don't think sixth grade is. There's not a lot of. I don't think a lot of kids in 6th grade are going to tell you what they want to be when they grow up.
See, but you're exposing them.
It's just letting them take those courses and try things out.
About them knowing what they want to be.
Mhm.
It's broadening their horizons.
Yeah.
See, if you could start at 6th grade, right? And the field trip is they get to come out and see networks. They get to go out and see. And
A lot of kids
we
in
all
6th
are.
grade just want to play video games and da-da-da-da-da.
Okay.
Yeah, but-
Whoa,
You know what I'm saying?
whoa. Listen to what you just said.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Yeah.
6th grade, all he want to do is play video games.
Mhm.
Then take him to the beta software departments that develop the video games and show him how he can make money and be a part of when they put out the beta to see if it's going to catch on.
Yeah.
It's ways to broaden our horizons.
There
Just
are.
because we
Yeah.
don't believe in it,
Right.
the video game EA Sports is one of the most multi-million making all
Man,
these
I'm trying
video
to,
games. Like
But
I
I
wish
mean,
somebody would have told me to invest in that back when I was.
Right.
But we have to think about it. The school kids are people in general. I'm not even gonna say kids. They cling to what they want. But in life, it's not up to you to decide what you want.
Right.
Your school teaches you what they feel that you need to know, whether
Right.
you want it or not.
Mhm.
Your job tells you what they need done, whether you want it or not. So, like you said, exposing them at an earlier age, whether you want this information or not, you're going on this field trip. You're learning this. Because in the end, in the long run, they're gonna be like, "Dang, I'm glad that I had that opportunity
Yep.
when I was in
Yeah.
6th grade to do this," or
and I would have been
"Dang,
one
I'm
of
Yeah.
them.
glad that I was able to go here and do there," instead of saying, "Man, I wish I could have had this, and my life could have been here if I would have had that,"
Yeah.
type of thing. So,
Whatever age it happens at, I just think that it should be geared more towards really helping these young individuals figure out their lanes and not just take them to a career fair and have them look at pamphlets and pick something. Like,
Yeah.
have them go do
Yeah.
on-the-job trainings. You know what I mean? Have a course where you have to go find a career that you think
they
you're into and do
used to
on-the-job
have
training.
that. They
now-
changed that. They used to have volunteer hours and all the kind. When I was in high school, I had
Yeah.
to volunteer
You had
and I
to
had
have
to
so many
intern
hours,
places.
yeah.
But now they don't have that at all.
Now, see, my age is going to start telling, right? And so when you say 6th grade is too young, you know, when I was coming up, and anyone that's listening that knows this generation in this era, they call it the youth summer jobs, and you had to go.
Yeah, I know.
You had to go apply by May 15th.
Mhm.
They gave us these funky,
Call
ugly
it the
yellow
work.
shirts and these funky, ugly yellow hats. Listen, I'm not joking. I grew up in a single parent household, only my mother.
Mhm.
So all I known is to get out and work. At 11 years old, I went and got a paper route. I would go sweep parking lots. And so when you was going to the 6th grade, you could go and apply for summer youth jobs. And
I
they
worked
had
at-
you
I
going
worked at a-
around.
On base grocery store bagging groceries when I was 12.
There you go. And they had you going
Trust
around
me, I
picking
get
up paper at certain parks and this and that. And so it was okay in the 6th grade at 12 years old, 11 or 12, whatever age you are,
To work.
to
Mm.
teach you the mentals of working, but not taking us to show us how we can achieve
And that's the
higher and
problem.
better. And so
That's
that's
the
why I'm
problem.
saying
Yeah.
we can catch them by
Yeah.
6th grade. So by the time they get in the 9th grade, their horizons is so open, they can understand it. They could be architects, they could be HVAC installers, they could
Instead of
be.
them wanting to
Yeah.
be the most famous TikToker, they're trying to develop the newest software or
See,
the
and
newest
look, see, I'm
app and all that
so
kind of thing.
conditioned
Like,
to the way of the world. I'm even willing to accept, like, just give them 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, of
Yeah.
course, I think catching them that early. But even when, you know, I bring up a proposed change, I'm even scared to go that far back because we're
Right.
so far away from that.
yeah.
I'm like, well, at least give us a chance starting sophomore year. In a perfect world,
Mhm.
hell yeah, 6th grade, let's start this process. You know what I'm saying? Now, by the time we get to senior year, can you imagine the kind of leadership and incredible, life-changing
process
individuals
that
we would
child
have
would
on this
have.
planet?
And so you know, all it
Incredible.
takes is one person to change your life, right? And
Yeah.
There's
that
3 in this
doesn't
room.
mean that you have to follow them.
Mhm.
I would go spend a night over. I know it's gonna sound crazy now because she gonna use this against me later, but I would go over my friend. I don't want to say his name, but I would go over my friend's house because his mother was a little bit more non-strict like my mother. Right? I don't know if that's the proper word or whatnot.
You know,
And so
fine.
I would go over. So I would keep a Prater record to his house, and I would go over his house on a Friday. And my mother would say, "Be home Sunday," and I'm like, "Okay, love you." And on Friday night, I had a friend Johnny who would pick me up. Now, mind you, I was 15 years old.
Mhm.
And Johnny
Where you go, Johnny?
was popular, and the guys he ran around, so they knew all the DJs and how to get in the club, right? So the neighborhood I grew up in, I didn't follow in these guys' footsteps, but I was smart enough at 15 to know I needed to be around them so I can meet the right
you
people.
can peep game and get
Right.
that network.
So I would get in the club, and so I would be in the club back then, and I would meet like the Lunar persons and the Touches and the DJ Scratches and the Scratch from New York, and, and you know what I'm saying, and Godfathers and Chainsaw and 12 Tech Mob and right and DJ Assault and and so Fingers and all these, and now mind you, I'm 15, right, and I'm going up in clubs where it's supposed to be 21. Sorry, I hope I ain't getting nobody in trouble. But I'm saying this to say I had met all these people. So in high school, I was the man because I was already up on what records to spin, what new records was coming out, what the high school kids wanted to hear, because we all, when you're young, you want to be older, right? And so I would go out with these guys, and they would, so like they all had dope cars. And so the thing was they would say, okay, Jay, you can come with us, but stay in the car until we come out and get you. And then when we come out and get you, you can come in. And so the way DJs would do it would be at 1 o'clock, when they would go around and start flirting and wanting to get the chicks that they want to leave with at 2 o'clock, I had an hour to spend. So from 9 to 1 o'clock, I sat in the car so nobody would steal their cars. I'm telling you the truth. Like this is how I started. And at 1 o'clock, they would sneak me in, and I would spin for an hour, and that's how I would learn.
Like DJ Too Young?
I will not tell y'all my DJ name.
One of these days I get it out of you.
And so what happened was I went to an event and I met this gentleman. And I was like, wow, he rocking out, he dope. And I'm like, all right. And so I didn't even have nothing inside this briefcase or whatever, right? But the next day I went up to his spot. I had a briefcase looking like I was a busy man, right? I had my uncle's dress shirt on and blazer. Like I thought I was, because now I think back to it and I'm like, man, I was.
Right? You was mini Jay the Great. Man, look, that was foreshadowing right there.
And, and so, and at the same time, I used to jit and do all that type of stuff, right? And so I remember going to meet this guy, and I was mesmerized. I was like, "This your club?" He was like, "Yeah." Like, this is what you do for a living? He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh man, I'm all set." So from that point on, from that point on, I became his intern, and now I know legally what that's called. But at that time, I was just his sidekick, right?
Yeah.
And everywhere he went, every gig he DJ'd, I DJ'd. I learned how to work a crowd. I learned what records go in what sets. I learned how you dress the part, you carry yourself the part.
Yeah.
And I learned those mannerisms, but I also learned you can hit a ceiling and bounce down.
Yeah.
Right. And so I always held this individual with great honor, but I also learned so much from him. This man had one of the most electrifying, and if he come across me, he see me, and he know it, I'm telling the truth, but had one of the most electrifying hustles ever. This man, and I used to have a studio and do different things, because even though I was doing that, I also used to, be on the road with artists and
you were doing that at the same time as you were out on the road.
Yeah, we was on the road, and had studios. Yeah, Mariah Carey was 7 Mile. 7 Mile was the first group that Mariah Carey signed from Detroit. And so people don't know that. And so that whole era I used to be around, right? Because I used to host, and so we had a studio and things of that nature. And, but the point I'm saying is like, I went to him and I was like, you need to put your hustle on vinyl. I mean, let's make a record. And at the time, Sweet still produces. And at that time, I was like, Sweet, put together like a hustle beat for this man. And he didn't. And 2 years later, the Cha-Cha Slide came out. And I told him, I said, oh, that was your spot to go. And listen, he's still doing great I love my guy. He's legendary. Will always be legendary. But I'm just saying that you learn so much, and so I was coming up around that, right? Can you imagine how many of the kids or young men, if they could have been around CEOs or entrepreneurs to see that? Because a lot of guys in my neighborhood went the dope way. A lot of guys in my neighborhood went the athlete way. A lot of guys in my neighborhood not even here. I was very fortunate to come across a guy who was in Gators, who was fly, who was dope, and I was like, "Yo!"
And that's what your curiosity. But see, some
and
people,
my parents told me, and my mom told me, that ain't DJing a real job. And now every time she see DJ Khaled, she's like, "I'm so sorry, son."
You gotta love even that. Actually DJ.
Right, you gotta love that.
He do know how to DJ though. I remember Khaled. I knew Khaled back when he was smaller.
Yeah, but I'm saying now he got to the point where he don't even have to. Literally, all he gotta say is "bring it back."
Another one.
That picture on the wall with Shaq. That was when they won the Miami won the championship, and I hosted the party.
Oh wow!
And Khaled, I'll never forget going to radio down in Miami, and Khaled was skinny, man.
No.
Yeah. Khaled used to sell phones. Look, no, just like that's how far I go back. No, he did.
No, I know.
Anybody
that's
doesn't
how
know.
you said it.
Like, I'm telling you, I've been around for a while. Like people think. People think that I'm new, man. I've been around for some years, right? Like, so
but
you're right. When we do this docu-series,
look, that would be like me. Like, I'm not sure what kind of car you have 5 years ago, but say it was like a neon or something. Like, yeah, Jay used to drive a neon, like just out of nowhere.
Man, my first car was a Nova. Listen, my first car was a Nova.
I've been around since Jay was in the Nova,
and it was a piece of junk. But I bought that car for $400. For $400 in a DJ the party. And that's how I got it. And I drove that car for 2 years.
Yeah. And
here's what's crazy. I drove that car for 2 years. To this day, I don't ever remember putting anything in it outside of gas. I've never put oil in it, never put antifreeze. And I drove that car everywhere.
For 2
years.
Everything is different, man. Everything's harder than it used to be.
When I took that car to the scrapyard, the guy was like, "What the hell is this?"
Right.
Seriously.
It's an oilless vehicle.
My first new
that was the first Tesla.
Yeah. All I remember doing was putting gas in it. Like I do to this day. I'm like,
he's leaving out the part that it was smoking hell bad every time he drove it anywhere. It was real loud, clunky.
I do not remember putting oil in because that's how immature and not taught I was. Right.
It's that's another thing. Okay,
and no one told me that.
That's a really good segue. That's a really good segue into what I wanted to say next. So you told the story about you seeing dude in Gators and you getting to be his apprentice and everything like that, right? And the really crappy part about
Rail Shake. So salutes to Rail Shake.
Hey,
that's my guy. Salutes to Rail.
Look,
because he to me he's still a legend and he don't get his flowers.
Right.
And so I just wanted to salute the big dog. Like, absolutely. I was amazed at him.
Now all the young black cats that
I was around wherever the cameras or the mics is at.
Right.
Look, I'm telling you the truth. Right, I brought your ass that record in 2001, and you could have been a damn cha-cha slide.
You never gonna get.
But he did listen to me, and I set up a meeting for him and Spud, and they had never met him and didn't know what was what. And I set a meeting up. We met up at the International Pancake House in Jefferson, whatever. And it was like, he could pass out flyers. I was like, man, you don't pass out flyers. I'm like, his name bring people. And I set a meeting up, and then they ended up giving him a radio show, and history was made from that point. So, and I don't even get the credit for that, man. People, I'm telling you, man, I've been around too long.
You don't get your flowers, man. Look, here's the beautiful part. Once we get to sit down,
I don't do it for that.
Once we sit down at that other location, and you get to bring people and do these video interviews, he's one of those individuals I think you should bring in and do an interview with. Let him tell that story and all that. I mean, I think what you do when you're people like us and you getting to tell these stories now, we compile these learning blocks and we compile these pieces of information that we can pass down. Like hearing that story on how you started and being the print. A lot of people aren't going to believe that you even had to go through that because of the heights of success that we're going to enjoy and that we currently are enjoying. It's hard for people to realize that we were once where they are. And it's a lot harder for people in the position where we were to think about ever being at those heights.
I've been in front of crowds. So I guess when you say humble and once again, I hate to don't ever want to see me on radio, but like
It's radio. No, you to get. Look, if I talk for 30 seconds or more at a time, I'm doing it wrong because you are here to be the one
You're
talking.
like,
This should be our break time. You get to look. We like this.
have the floor. The floor is yours.
Because a lot of people when they see me, I'm always smiling. I'm always happy. And it's like that people understand they don't know where I come from. So like I'm blessed. I'm fortunate. But that story I just told you about, like with Ray, like these dudes were and still are legends, you know. And so I've been around, like I've been in front of a crowd my whole life, you know. So and when they went to high school with me, they already know, like, yeah, they used to do all our tennis shows, and all our high school parties was off the hook. And not just, and here's the thing, not just me, because now I'm leaving out my brother, you know, and so Rayo, Leo, Lily, like. But me and Rail, we transcended. Like we was two cats, and Rail still tears it down right now. Still pops off the parties and salutes each other. Like, but I've been around so long, people forget that, right? And I think because I'm so relatable and approachable, the best comparison I always compare myself to this is you will hear people talk about Jay-Z and Dr. Dre, but no one really puts Jermaine Dupri on that plateau. And Jermaine Dupri is one of my icons, right? Like, that's the only person that, look, out of everything I've done, I've never met this guy. That's the only person that I actually look up to.
Right.
Not saying I don't look up to Jay, like I do. Like, that's my big homie. And Jay have said some words to me that changed my life, conversating with him and kicking it with him. But, you know, Jay and Dr. Dre is put on the plateau, right? Puff is put on the plateau. Most people don't really mention Jermaine Dupri because he's very relatable. He's been producing hits and been doing so much. It's common to him, right? And so when people see, and to me, JD is a superstar.
Well, I think because too, JD never was someone who thrived on being in front of the camera.
Bingo.
Whereas Diddy, Jay-Z, all them other cats, they were front of the camera individuals.
He likes the behind the scenes.
That's just like somebody recent. What's his name?
The two people
Hit Boy or Hitmaker.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was who that was.
Yeah, I didn't.
That's the new era. But to me, I came up studying people like Jermaine Dupri and Swiss.
Well, I mean, and the fact of like,
I remember Swiss.
He changed his name, and I didn't know that was him. You know what I'm saying? He got away from the camera and went and said, and I feel like that's what JD did. Of course, he was in the videos for a little bit, but I'll get him up. But for the most part, he didn't need that in front of the camera accolade like the rest of them did. So of course they're gonna.
Even Swiss. I studied Swiss, and I still haven't met him in this phase. But I remember, you know, being around there that Rough Rider era, right? And during that time, like people don't know, like, man, Swiss, like, I'm so proud of that guy, like, because I was around during that era. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was around during that era, and you know, just rightfully so. Like back then, it was just a different time, and so like Swiss ain't no chump. Put it that way. Like Swiss. When I say, listen, when I say
Alicia Keys,
listen, listen. When I say,
you got to be a good man to get what you know what I'm saying.
Listen, when I say Swiss is solid, like it's certain people that, you know, no matter what, when you go somewhere, you know, like people hold love for you, people rock with you, right? And so like Swiss was just always a solid
good in the neighborhood.
Like always solid. So the first time I met him, like. And everybody was young back then, but like it just, you could tell people that's different, right? And on that level where it's like, look, man, I'm not here for the right, and so you know, people, and so I've been around so long, it's like I think people forget that.
Well, we talked about transitioning earlier, right? And you've been around for so long, but you've transitioned into so many different lanes, onward and upward, that you only need to be relevant in a lane that you're still in. So they may not talk about you as the host or the this or the that, but that definitely doesn't mean it takes away from anything. But they can't speak on what you're doing now because they know nothing about it. I know you're relevant in a different lane that they know nothing about. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's true. And it's one of those things that is like I talked about earlier. It has to be embedded in you because people can use the excuse of, oh, I didn't know, I didn't have. Well, you were in the same position. You know what I'm saying? But again, you fought for it to be in that predicament to where you still achieved it no matter what.
Right.
Because it's easy to be like, oh, yeah, you know, some no libraries in my neighborhood, so I'm not going to go use the Wi-Fi. Bro, you can walk 2 blocks over to go get another library. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
But I
you
always
didn't have
say,
any
too,
of that and you still achieved.
Hey, I
I'll
should
always
ask-
say too that it's so easy for us now.
ask him who he interned for.
Uh-oh.
And he always speaks highly of that. Like, Sam was my intern back in the early 2000s. Yeah, it wasn't cool to go to the library and say you're reading books or whatever. And so, you do what you got to do to make it out of it. But yeah, I was, we had Black Enterprise back then. We had magazines and different things. And so I would go read all these things. This is.
But you fell into wanting to do all that just because you wanted to, or did you see somebody that was doing it, or did somebody tell you to look it up?
You hear it around your household. You hear it around people. My family, I used to hear the stories of certain cousins and certain people who own stores or own this and that. My mother would talk about how she wanted to do this or do that. But in the end, I just started reading. Like I always read. Like I was a book fanatic. So I still read a book a month, right? I used to do like a book a week, but now I'm down to like a book a month. I don't read as much as I used to, but I'm a book fanatic. Anybody that knows me know I'm the person that comes to and get books. I got everybody turned into books.
No, I got the book plug. It's my homegirl Lisa. She's a teacher, and every year she tries to read 52 books. And I want to say during the COVID year, she like doubled it, read like 100 and something books.
So I was that person. Like, and anybody that sit with me, like, and so I was that, right? And so a lot of the young guys always had love for me because whether I was DJing or we had a dance crew or we was out and about, like what I went through, I would make sure no one else went through it.
Right.
What I did wrong, I would make sure nobody else did wrong. Like I'm not sitting here with no means like I was this perfect cat. Yeah. We all make mistakes. But yeah, I was reading at an early age, but I grew up on a block that, I think I got 2-3 friends still alive from the block because Kaz and a lot of these guys were older than me. Like as much as people think I'm old, I'm older, but I hung around a lot of older
being old
guys. And so my block was so bad. One of my great friends, it turned him into a pastor. That's how bad my neighborhood and my block was. I won't say it right now because I don't want to mess up the docuseries that will be coming.
Right.
Because we haven't
give away too
we
much.
haven't even got up to the point to where when I was moving and falsely accused. So like it's so much to my timetable. But what brings me in today was really to talk more about
to update the people on where Jay went. They put out the APB and everybody was like, I hear Jay sometime on the network. I hear his drive, but where is he?
Right.
So we had to let him know he's safe and sound. We found him.
And the overall thing is like it's upward for everybody, right?
It's
like
upward.
I just wanted to make sure that people understood that we could be more than one thing. And sometimes we focus so much on identity of one thing, right? And the key is can you be great in 3-4 different lanes, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the whole focus. I'm not doing anything that's out of my norm. Everything I'm doing is still in my norm, but goes back to what you were saying. Yes, it's a lot to do with me going back to school. Mm-hmm. It's a lot to do with me taking these certification courses. It's a lot to do with me trusting and believing in myself. Mm-hmm. And making sure that I'm laying the right foundation. We can't scold anyone if we're not willing to school them. Right. And I can't school anyone if I don't have the proper knowledge.
I like that.
Right?
I've never heard that before, and I think that is an incredible. Like we should really put that up on the wall somewhere. You can't scold someone if you can't school them.
Yeah, because here's the thing, like we all want to be better, right? You know what I mean? Cats, I go to court. And I'm an advocate in that field too, right? And the hurtful thing is like I'll hear prosecutors and certain people say, do better or go out of your job. You don't think if this young man knew how,
right?
He don't know how. Right. We got to stop saying do better. People don't know how. Let's give people a blueprint. Let's walk people through it because change is one of the hardest things, right? But once a person can see that they can be, when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, and that's the point that you got to stop. Okay, so like you said, if you know better, you do better. If you present someone with the opportunity, the resources, you give them everything they need to succeed, and they choose not to. Yeah. That's when you differentiate, and those people can't help you anymore. Yeah. You have to want to be helped for me to be able to help you. Right. But I will say there is an overwhelming majority of a lot of these populations that don't have that opportunity, aren't shown the way to capture that opportunity. I'm not going to say there isn't the opportunity, but there is a lack of knowledge on how they can get to a position that they'll be able to take and succeed in those opportunities.
And some of us F it up.
Right.
I was going to say, I feel like now there is a whirlwind of resources, but people now have to check their egos to contact those resources. Mm-hmm. Like we talked about before. Everybody has that, I'm me, I'm independent, I'm self and and don't want to ask people because they just want to live this facade that, I'm having a big business, I'm vacationing.
And you talk about that all the time. So, did you know that I seen the statistic, and of course, me being who I am, I had to make a joke about it, but there's a statistic that the most Black-owned businesses were started during the pandemic. And of course, I was like, only PPP loans. But I mean, I hope that statistic is truthful, and it's just Black people.
But just because you start a business doesn't mean you know how to sustain.
They've had over the last 2 years, like I think the statistic was like businesses that are sustained at least for a little bit, not just people that have started. Actually, let me backpedal because it might have just been people that started businesses.
But you know what, right? So a lot of these. And that's another thing with the internet now. Like, there's no fact checking, right? And so people act like the PPP loans or whatever that crap was, XYZ. The first thing that social media does and algorithms does and shoves out to the world is that it's Black people that benefited. And just so people can understand the U.S. Census, right? Go look up your U.S. Census and see what the population is of Black people. We don't even make up 20%.
Oh, we did. We just did last week.
Let me break this down to people, right? When you hear the media and the crime that's being reported, we're still less than 20% of this world's population in the U.S. which means that those that profit off of these PPP loans, those that profit off the stay at home and kick off, isn't the Black people, right? But that's what they put out to the narrative because people don't know how to go and research and look up statistics and numbers. I have individuals, and it's no disrespect to nobody, all day long. I hold some of the most prestigious degrees and certifications. I got over 20-something years in this business, you name it, right? And have made countless of successful things, right? And no matter what, Black people will still always be questioned, and we will still always be, questioned and ridiculed. And until we start putting facts up, what kills me is that all these individuals that's on social media bring up all this XYZ, they will never put up facts. Put facts up. Let's start posting facts, right? Let's start posting resources. I think that we need to change the energy on social media. Let's start posting resources. Let's start posting what libraries are open. Let's start posting. I met a young person, and I don't mean to disrespect nobody out there, but listen, the justice system provides you, and I'm not no one's legal counsel, this is just my own opinion. If you are innocent, and you feel you have no options and someone offers you a plea, it is your right to say, I want another counsel. I met a young guy, 22 years old, and every state is different. So I'm only talking in Michigan per se, and I'm not no one's legal counsel.
You just create another piece of the Good Time Show.
Absolutely. First time this individual has ever gotten into trouble, right? And it wasn't nothing heinous. It wasn't a violent crime, right? He lives in a very, very bad neighborhood, has been bullied, jumped on, and etc. And so one of his, I assume, or whatever, older cousins or whatnot, gave him a little pistol to try to protect himself. He got stopped with it, boom, gets done. Told him to take a plea, right? And I advocate for individuals, right? I believe in second chances. I've worked in the facilities and been a youth specialist, and with the hands of JWP with JWP Associates and so many other organizations, the innocent programs and all around the world. And I asked him, I said, listen, go back and just mention HIDA to your attorney. And he says, well, what is that? I said, just mention it to your attorney. And he said, okay. He went and mentioned it to his attorney. He called me back. He said, Jay, he asked me who told me about this. That was his answer to me. Like, look, I'm not making this up. And once again, confidentiality is everything in this world. And he said, Jay, he said, who told me about this? And I said, give him my number.
Right.
And that individual called me. And when I tell you I lit into this guy's ass.
Right.
Right. And I lit into him because, first off, if this is what you're doing, you should have knew that the age was heightened. And actually, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't a firearm. No, it wasn't a firearm. He had drugs on him. They were using him as a stool pigeon. I'm sorry, I got the facts wrong. They were using him as a stool pigeon because he was an innocent little kid going to school. So they would make him hold the drugs because they knew police would never question him.
But
that's what it was.
Then he got stopped and questioned.
And what happened was on his way home, a fight broke out and the police gathered everybody in that area. And he so happened to be in that area. Okay, so that's what it was. I'm sorry.
Talk about wrong place, wrong time.
And he got caught with a couple stones on the and it was less than 25 grams. And I told him, I said, well, ask your attorney, about HIDA. And because he was trying to go to community college. Like the young boy was trying to
he was doing his thing.
He was going to community college, young boy, 21 years old. I think he was 21, 22, something like that. And they told him, like, oh no, HIDA, you can't be over the age of this. And I was like, nah, they switched the age. I'm like, just ask him about it. And he called me just out of confidence, right? Yeah. And I'm like, look, man, I'm not the counselor. I can't advise you, but I just ask him about this. Yeah. And so those are the things that I'm saying, going back to school for. Like, I went to school for for criminal justice, and I furthered my education in that. because we need to know the law that's going to come against
I
us.
fully agree.
I
with
went
that.
to school I got my MBA. I went into the criminal justice world. I wanted to know what laws was going to come at us. I needed to know in business what they knew, right? And then I furthered it with my further education because to play in the game and not know what the basics are, because everything ain't on Google. Please, people, stop going to Google.
So
go
that's
to
just
represent
like,
yourself.
so on that point, right? I believe so. I previously was thinking about being a real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I purchased the course. You know, it cost me like $400 to get this course or whatever. Takes you forever to do the course. But anyway, even though I didn't finish the course and take my real estate license and stuff, I still may. I think after reading the information I read in there, anybody who's ever going to purchase or sell a home should have that entire course.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people don't.
Because the stuff that's in there, they don't tell you that anywhere but in that course that you spend $400 on to get your license to be a real. When that's the kind of stuff that homeowners and people selling homes and purchasing homes should know those things.
Yeah.
But that information is hoarded until you pay that money and you get that certificate, and now you're in the know of. So you're right. If you're in certain lanes, you're gonna have to pay that money to get that knowledge.
Yeah.
They're not gonna give it to you for free. And that's why I think on this show, throughout the years on Free Game Friday, I guarantee you we'll be getting a lot of calls from a lot of people that are pissed that we're giving away information that they've been making buku money.
Or big mistakes, not knowing, spending the wrong money on the wrong thing, getting scammed, getting gypped, all those kinds of things.
It's so difficult because there's so many scams. Like personally myself, I want my third, fourth stream of income, right? So I've been looking into doing like Amazon online selling, right? But there's so many people that claim to sell these courses or certificates or whatever. I'm like, I really do want to jump in and learn how to do that stuff, but I can't trust that any of these people are legitimate enough for me to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I wish there was a college course on Amazon store. So, you know what I mean?
So I understand,
how to sell.
Right. Those things. Once again, so we always looking for the loophole, right? And real estate has been around forever, right? Real estate is just like the stock market; it goes up, it goes down, right? It's a long.
It's always going to be there, though,
right? But it's a long haul game. It's not a short game, right? Really, anything that's profitable, that's lucrative in life, it's not a short game. Short game is trends, and typically, if you're going to try to win off trends, either you're manipulating the system, which means inside people, which is inside trading, or any fool can be right twice a day, right? Because even a broken clock is right twice a day.
We always say we're gonna make a shirt that says, "When there's a trend, there's a trap."
Yeah.
Hey, listen, so when you hear me say I've been around for a while, man, I've been around, to this point. I'm very, very blessed. I'm very thankful. And I've seen everything come and go, right? And so when you start talking, a lot of you don't even know about Reaganomics, and a lot of you don't even know about Oliver North,
redlining,
and the amnesty program that was created.
I read too, brother.
So just imagine living through it, right?
Yeah,
because in the 80s, I remember watching drugs change my neighborhood. Yeah. Right. One moment you see someone's mother and father working citizens. The next minute you see them, and it's like, what just happened?
Now, isn't it a blessing and a curse to be one of those individuals who's had the brain to be paying attention to all of those things in real time? Yeah. I always tell people, I say it all the time, I tell my wife this all the time, like, man, I wish I could just be ignorant. I really wish I didn't have the brain I have sometimes, because it's so painful to watch the way this world operates when you know there's an easier way, and you know it can be so simple. Yeah. It can all be so simple.
But it's money in a lot of this, right? And so now when you look at social media,
money and power,
and you look at the internet, there's good and there's bad to it. And so it goes back to me saying, why we don't see people posting more resources, why we don't see people posting.
That's what I was going to say.
It goes into tricking that algorithm.
So I'm a big fan of when I have ideas like this on air. I like to put it out in the world. I think that it'll force us to make it a reality. I think we should start holding resource rallies.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about people not having resources, right? The three of us in our network, we can be three people that help change the world, right?
And so,
Yeah.
so
If we gather a bunch of people and we do these rallies, however often we need to do them, where people from these neighborhoods have the opportunity to come to these rallies and just soak up
But
all
they
these
actually
resources.
do have those.
I
It's
think
your
it-
local, some of your local churches, your local YMCA places, your local libraries. Stop bombing the
I
libraries
haven't
and
heard- look,
vandalizing
I
them.
haven't heard of.
Like,
I haven't heard of them.
It's just seminars, right? And so, believe it or not, man, like as much as we could do those things, there's still a disconnect of people not wanting to listen.
Yeah, but see, then what do you
I-
do, right? Like you say they don't have it. We have to do things, okay? But at a certain point, if people aren't going to listen, at what
And
point
don't
do
get
you
me
just
wrong, some
disconnect
will.
and just?
Don't get me wrong, some will, right? But you know, we gotta accept the fact that everybody think they're going to be slicker than the next.
You can't say
That's why
everybody,
people are still
yeah.
in. So think about it. Just think about this. In the 1920s, 1930s, wasn't no internet. It wasn't no nothing. You still caught mobsters, right? For everyone that comes up, everybody thinks they're going to be slicker than the next.
So they're gonna do it better than everybody.
Can you
else.
imagine if any of these guys were taught that, listen, with that knowledge, you can run a Fortune 500 company and not watch over your back? Listen, don't get it twisted. Like in the business world, it's just as shiesty as the street world. The difference is they just take it to court. They're not going to bash you over your
they
head.
fight clean.
They're not going to do
Well,
anything to
no.
jeopardize them to go to jail. They're going to take it to court.
Right.
And they're going to make sure their contracts protect them in every single way. They're going to have you sign non-disclosures,
So you
non-competes.
get my money back.
They're going to, right? And so it's us teaching our youth, like, listen, you don't have, it's easier to make money legitimate than it is to make money the wrong way. Right?
We gotta teach people how to play
It's
chess, not
it's-
checkers.
it's- that money's
Pfizer is
better.
living proof.
Wait. That money's better, but it is
What
not
money?
always the legal money is better than
Yes.
illegal money. I wouldn't say it's easier to make legal money though,
It's easier.
man.
It's easier. I'm telling you.
Because of you don't have the threat of going to jail for getting caught. Do you know
Easy.
how easy it is to scam? You don't have to be
Listen,
smart to scam
listen.
people. That's why so many dummies are scamming people.
Listen,
But they're
that's-
dummies,
that's-
they're getting
that-
caught.
Listen, that's chump change.
Yeah, true. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But keep in mind, okay, I had this conversation with somebody the other day too. There is no such thing as chump change. The phrase chump change is all relative. Because if you've had $0 for 6 months, coming up off $5, you rich.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying? So
okay,
people
okay.
scamming $5. That's
so,
in the long run, yes. That is
so,
chump
so
change,
once
but-
again, it goes to the level of what conversations
right.
are we entertaining? Okay, because
right.
dynamically, from 18 to 26, you should be developing your brain. That is when you gather all of knowledge to strengthen the muscles in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
From 26 to 30 is when you start to see if you can apply those
Mm-hmm.
hand-on, etc. To 30 to 40, you should be utilizing that to build a platform, whether it's a relationship, resume, etc. From 40 to 50, you should be saving and creating a platform to live off of. So to 50 to 57, you are mapping out your retirement, and your retirement is at 57. They began to raise that. It went from 52 to 55, from 55 to
Now it's
57.
65.
Now, is this the
Hold on, let me
working class
finish.
stuff?
Let me finish. 57 to 60, 60 to 62, 62 to 64, 64 to 66 and a half, which I don't even know what that is.
Huh?
So understand this.
Yeah.
Understand what level are we discussing? Because everybody life goals is different.
Yeah.
To some people,
Yeah.
money is success.
Mm-hmm.
To some people, health is success. Some people, it's you define and carve out. So you're right. If a person who's broke and gets $6, that's a come up for him. Listen, my level of come up and conversation is a little different.
Exactly.
So I am trying to embark on family legacy, health, wealth, and making sure that I can balance myself. I don't want to be the individual who works too much and lose focus from his family. Yeah. I don't want to give too much to the family and then lose focus on building a legacy. I don't want to focus too much on the dollar numeric measure and I lose all my principle, integrity, and poise. So it's that fine balance that I'm trying to figure out.
It's easy to make that crazy money if you're not trying to balance those things.
Because
you can easily sell yourself for a crazy.
If all you care about is the dollar, I'm gonna do anything to get the dollar. I'm gonna die trying.
But that's what they tell us as a kid.
That's why it's
think about young men.
That's
think
why
what they pump in our heads as young men.
So messed up.
Think about it. Think about young men. You gotta have bread. Go out and don't let your girl pay for this.
Right.
You know the pressure that's put on men.
Protect your family.
And so women do the same thing.
As a mother of 3 boys, that will not be happening when they go out on dates.
And women get pressure too, but you know they.
You gotta cook. You gotta clean. You gotta take care of this person. You gotta do all of these. Like half the women are doing that.
Yeah.
Which is.
I'm so thankful my wife. Listen, I'm not gonna look. My wife does cook.
Which is why so many women were so upset at Kevin Samuels. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
To him.
I just when you get into the gender, when you get into the gender roles and all. So I had a situation.
We don't have gender roles. Listen, anybody.
No, not even.
I wash. I clean.
A lot of people in this world still stick by it. So there was a situation when I first got with my wife. I moved from my apartment, which was like a luxury apartment out in California, up to the mountains. Oh, it was beautiful. I forgot. I got to show you. I got to show you
this. Here.
Man, I'd have been
talking $6 or some chump change.
You couldn't do that with $6
I'm devil's advocate, man. I'm gonna look. Every time somebody's talking about anything, I'm gonna find a way to be devil's advocate. You know. So I moved from this luxury apartment, which I was still paying rent in, to this basically ran down house up in the mountains that they were living in, all of them, and I wasn't really able to see my wife a lot. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to move up here into this home with you so I can at least see you a little bit and help your mom out with the 5 kids. Right. So a little bit of time goes by. Keep in mind, I'm paying for that apartment still while paying for the extra bills in the house that I just moved into and, helping take care of the kids. I cook them all food when they get home from all of that. Right. One of her brothers had the nerve to tell me that it was a shame that there was dishes in the house and the laundry wasn't folded and done because my wife's out at work, or my girlfriend at the time is out at work and I'm home all day. So she's bringing in the bread, then you need to keep the house clean. Not realizing that I'm getting disability from the military and going to school and I'm bringing in more money to the household than she was. Right? So how are you going to tell me that since you sit around here all day, you should clean the house?
Right.
Excuse me? Like, no, man, that ain't how this works.
Yeah. Like, it's whoever can get to it.
I mean,
at that free
and
time.
Most of the time it was like his kids was over there after school using up dishes and throwing stuff. How about you tell your kids to clean their dishes? I'm not nobody's maid, bro.
Hey, that's what Kanye said. This ain't your mama house. You clean them dishes.
You know what? And so inside of that, I run for people like that now. Yeah. Right? Like I'm on this, like I've always been a true believer of laws of attraction, right? And I said this earlier. People can speak more about someone else's life than theirs.
Yep.
Right? Like, man, do you know to be the best that you could be, that's a 24/7 job. How the hell you got time to focus on somebody else's house?
You don't.
Right? And so when people come like that, I get ghosts from it, man, because it's like, first off, it's creepy. Why the hell you so focused at my house and what I'm doing over here? It lets me know you ain't got a damn like me.
Not
right?
One thing.
But also, man, like people fall asleep on how haters get off. Yeah. Right? Like haters love to cause confusion.
Yeah. Steal your joy.
Drama.
Yeah.
Negativity, right? So I get ghosted, man. Like I love talking to, not a lot of people have my number. And so I love my brother, man. He a pastor, and I love you. And I love, all my guys that do have my numbers. But sometimes, man, I be reluctant when they hit me sometimes because I know they're going to tell me
some BS or about somebody else's drama.
So, and I don't want to pass this, so I'm going to keep it short, but I just want to give an example, right? Because I got love and and prayers for everybody, man. And I don't like to hear bad news because it hurts me. Like it hurt me because I want everybody to be able to grow and find what they're great at and their max potential, right? But I have my life is different. So like my movement and it's like everything is just different, right? I'm in a different caliber, a different space.
I'm
like,
gonna have to have this conversation with people when I move back into my house tomorrow. Look, my life's just different now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we was neighbors for 14 months, but my life is different now. I can't rock with you.
So Friday, my uncle came home. Thursday, my uncle came home. Had a stroke during COVID. And so we had him in the home so he can get the best care and things for him. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go see him Friday, chop it up with him, whole 9 yards. But it was already hard on me because he was like a father figure to me. Right. So he's the only man that was like consistent in my life, right? Great relationship with him, whole 9 yards. But it's just hurtful to see him the way he is, right? And so I don't really handle that type of stuff good. And so when that type of stuff happens, I go into work mode to kind of I'm going through therapy. Don't question me.
I tell everybody this is my therapy session.
Yeah, and so it's hurtful for that, right? And to show y'all what laws of attractions is, right? Why you gotta hurry up and shake it and switch it up. So as soon as I saw him, right, I went to go sit down with him, chopping it up with him, spent some great time with him. It was beautiful. But it was damn, like to see him like that, right? Yeah. Damn, phone ring. It's my boy. Man, such and such got killed. I said, God damn.
Here we go.
How did this like look,
this went left.
It just started raining on me.
That's when you go home, you turn your phone up. Today's one of them days. I'm not doing it.
Don't call me, big me.
Listen. I feel you. I'll wake up in the morning sometime. My mom is real good for calling me at like 5 o'clock in the morning. She calls me before I call her at 7:30. I know something bad. So she'll call me and she'll give me that, and I'll go tell my wife, like, it's one of those days.
Right, yeah.
I gotta stay away from people today because I know what's gonna happen today. Yeah. And without fail, every time. Oh, this happened. Damn, this happened. Oh no.
My car went down. I gotta go to the shop.
Yes. My son called me. I think I'm running out of gas. Oh God.
I'm like, what? Like laws of so if people don't believe laws of attraction is real, I'm telling you.
It really is.
So listen, look, I was like in like 3 hours, it was like, pop, pop, pop. I was like, what the? So I remember Saturday, I told my wife, I was like, I'm not answering my phone today.
I can't do this again.
I was like, I'm not answering my phone.
It's like the final destination after that day thing. You're like,
and like all jokes aside, like I straight up, I was like, I'm not answering my phone. I'm going golfing. Like I gotta clear my mental.
Yeah.
Like I gotta switch my laws of attraction back.
Yeah.
Because what just happened yesterday can't keep happening. And so people, we have to take more control of our lives. And I'm telling you, like. And I love my bro. Like, I love when he hit me, and trust me, when they told me the news about Young, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
But it's just like, look, man,
you got to give a disclaimer before you say, hey, are you ready to hear something today?
Yeah, text me first and be like, hey, I got some news. That I need
call
to
me
share
when you get a chance. Like, let me brace myself.
Just checking your vibrations today. Can you handle having,
what's the shaka order?
Just don't let it rip. And that's another thing, phone etiquette. Like, people don't have phone etiquette, right? So what that means is, and I'm educating people on this. When you call somebody, all right, so I'm going to give people a real quick breakdown. You call somebody, they pick up. Be respectful enough to say, hey, did I catch you at a bad time?
Right.
Are you okay to talk and hear something heavy?
Right.
Let that person decide because before
this is how it goes. This is how it goes right now. Ready? Hello? Oh, Timmy died. Oh shit! Wait, who is this? Timmy who?
Damn!
What? My Timmy?
Why do black people think if you say the name twice, you remember?
Timmy.
Did we just talk about this earlier today?
Timmy. Like, okay, that didn't.
No. Here we go. You gotta do this. I gotta go beside.
Timmy, dude.
He's like,
Oh,
oh,
like,
okay.
bruh,
I'm about to start singing
I
songs.
still
Timmy,
don't know.
Timmy, wishing for a bird. Like,
Yeah, and so like and that's the thing, man. Like I'm learning now. Like I didn't used to shut those dials off.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
And so
You
now,
really have to.
like,
though.
and for instance, I talked to you Saturday too. I was like, yo, I ain't messing with nobody. I'm going to golf. And let me tell you what I did.
Oh.
I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I went golf.
Yeah.
I shut
You
down
have
Saturday.
to.
Yeah.
I
I need to do
recentered
some
myself,
golfing.
and I placed my laws of attraction back to that because
Realign your hour.
because
Yeah.
man, let me tell you,
It's important.
Life is a gift every day that we wake up. It's a blessing, and if we all have not learned that life will continue without you,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, baby. Yes.
Like I have not
Yes.
seen yet a company or anything stop because someone passed away.
You know
Not
what?
a
So I
bill,
can't
not
be
a-
ignorant enough to think that the world gonna just pause when my black ass. That's why I be
And
like,
that's what's
time
funny
out.
too. I think I realized that once me getting out of the military, because you have no idea how important and how big you feel when you're in the military. And the second you get out and take that uniform off, you back to being just another in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Well, never to me.
But still, you know what I'm saying? There's certain people like you who hold that high regard for us. Yes. But the military kept rolling. They don't give a about, you know what I'm saying, reality wise. So that made me finally realize it doesn't really matter all that much on a day-to-day basis who you think you are and what role you think you play in whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Because the second you fall off or the second you pass away, like you said, it's going to keep going. The world's
Get
going to
somebody
keep
else
spinning.
replacing it. And-
So every single day, what I do now is, like you were just saying, down answering the phone. And I tell my people now, like before I used to make up an excuse or I used to, whatever the case may be. Now they know.
Yeah.
Like if you call me and don't answer, I may not have been busy. I just knew it was going to take 45 minutes out of my day to speak to you about something that was insequential for the day and the time and the vibration. So I was sitting here watching this show, getting my peace of mind together, and I didn't have time to explain to you what my day was like or hear what your day was like because it's not a part of what I got going on in this moment.
I blocked so many people on social media, and it's not even. My homegirl was in town, Shar, and we was kicking it, and she was saying like, man, why you don't like when people bring up this and this? She's like, that's a part of you. That's who made you. That's dope. And I understood it, right, to a certain degree. But at the same time, like, I also was taught, remember when was the lowest form of a conversation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, man, I've created so many new memories. Like my history is my history.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to do this docuseries because I want to tell it once and be done with it.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I love when people want to hear the stories about the Jay-Z's and Smith. Great.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, like that wasn't my only high point.
But like you said too,
I got so many other high points.
Like you
crazy.
said, with calling each other and asking where you at in the moment, like there's a certain place and time for reminiscence conversation.
Yeah.
And to me, I feel like these days, if you only want to talk about what we used to do together, then you're not currently interested in what I'm doing.
There you go.
And you don't want to be a part of my future and my present. You love the position you had in my past.
But also, to a certain extent, we are very quiet and kept people. So we do that unknowingly. So people don't know what's going on. Like for the longest time, my in-laws thought, well, they think, because I do work for another station.
She said they think for the longest time they think because I do because like, they're right.
We don't walk around saying we're this, we're that, we're doing this, we're da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? So to other people, they don't see that we know, but to them, they're like, well, I saw them here.
But here's the funny part, though. Like I explained, I consider my brother still to this day. I lived with his family in high school. I moved out of my house when I was 15, and his family built me a room in their basement. So he will always be my brother. I call him my blood brother, white boy. But the 2 years that I've been back where I'm at now, I haven't personally seen him at all. He's never met my babies. He's never met my wife, or actually, I think he met my wife on a trip. But anyway, I haven't seen him at all, right? So when we get together, all we're gonna have to talk about is back in the day. Right? I'm gonna have to catch you up on the last 2 years that you've missed. And I don't think you're interested in what's happening today or what's gonna happen in the future, because now you gotta catch up for all that time you've missed that you shouldn't have missed.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not my fault, and it's not my job to fill you in.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be in my current life,
you would contact
you would
me.
stay
Like, hey,
up.
what you
You
got
would stay
going
up
on?
to date, because I got so much happening every day. I don't got time to catch you.
So
Sorry.
I got something for you to know that, right? So we have friends, we have associates, we have colleagues, right? And so sometimes we place people in different categories. I have individuals that literally only call me to talk and dump and hear nothing about where I'm at, right? And so I've learned to understand that, right?
Can't do it.
And but hold up. Now let me tell you, some of these things are very called for because we don't know where a person is in their life or what's hurtful to them or what they're going through. So anyone that calls me, I give them the attention if I have that time, right? If I have that time and I have that gap, I listen because I lost a dear friend by putting a conversation off to the next morning, and he didn't make it the next morning.
Yeah.
So I always carry that with me.
That.
And so we don't know how our conversation or us listening or giving someone the right information could change their lives, right? That doesn't mean that we take away from us, but we have to be mindful of that. But also, it's a compliment. When someone calls you and they're placing you in the position of you catching them more, that means they hold you to a higher regard. Like I had to accept that, right? Because I was this person that was always reaching out to everybody, checking on everybody. And I used to go through that phase at one point in my life. Well, I ain't reaching out to nobody never called me this and that. And here's the thing. We can't pick and choose who's prophets. We can't pick and choose who are deliverer of that higher power. We don't know what our calling is, right? And so you don't know if you're chosen to be that person to reach out. We always want to put Muhammad's and Jesus and all these names, but they lived up to the test because they reached out, right? Now, what if they never reached out? What if they never? So we don't choose if we are a prophet. We don't choose if we're the spoken word. We don't choose if we are that person that keeps the family and that glue together. That's what Big Mamas and them did. That's what our great grandddads did. That's what our forefathers. Absolutely. Right. So we and so I don't want to get it misconstrued when I'm saying like, oh my God, it's bad news, because once again, we're all here from a living, balanced, spiritual standpoint, right? And as far as what you were saying, not wanting to tell, this or that's because no one really believes that trauma from slavery, Jim Crow, and all these things has been passed down from generations to generations. A Black CEO is not viewed the same way a white CEO is viewed. A Black business person is not viewed the same way a white CEO or small business is viewed, right? And that has to do with our mentality, right? And so if you tell someone that you have a business, they think it's like, oh, you got some little mom and pop thing, right? But a white person can walk up and say the same different thing, right? But understand this, that game has been going on for generations, right? So when you walk into certain stores and you see Black faces, we're the supervisors, we're the managers, it's a white owner. Yeah. Well, we got to stop being dumb enough not to switch up too. Go buy a business in the white neighborhood and put white faces in there. Hello. But it says something goes to what you told me when I first walked in. Jay, man, you're so humble. You're so ego. You don't have ego. You're not all this. Right. Because it took years to understand that. Right. And so all the time we don't know your place in business. All the time we don't fit in every lane. Right. We can have a business and everybody don't need to know. Everybody don't need to know everything I'm involved in. Right. They know what I want them to know. They know the things that I share on radio, but they don't need to know every damn thing.
But no, that's what I was saying. Like, it's not like we don't tell just by default because of the type of people that we are. But also people have to understand
even just
that,
the little stuff on the day-to-day stuff.
yeah, like the day-to-day, but like anything else, it's like, why do I need to go into full detail? Why do I need to show a whole YouTube video of my day-to-day routine, my skincare? Like,
the
bro, that's
prophet
too much.
Lil Wayne said, "Real cheese move in silence like lasagna."
Thank you.
Hey.
Okay. And then also people have to get out of that egotistic mind of I want this business to have my name or I want my name on it and start buying franchises. When you buy a franchise, you're still an independent business owner, but you're buying into a company that already has a name, so you're making more money than trying to get your name off the ground. But hey, you know, well, yeah, sometimes, but majority
I
of the
don't know.
time,
I think I'd love to have a Mick Cujo.
Mick Cujo.
Mick Cujo's.
Hey, I'm starting a new line. I'm gonna start stripping online.
Oh,
For women in the old folks home, they need entertainment too.
wait, but you always gonna have bad Wi-Fi, so every time you go to take it down and cut off.
I'm joking, people. I'm joking. You know
It's gonna be strip bingo. They're gonna be like,
Hey, let me say, I'm telling you good night. He's like, I gotta tell you something before I die, man. I posted Playboy. I spread my cheeks under the name Nacho.
Oh,
and they
man.
put me in the centerfold, man, right down the middle.
Look, that's the only reason why people be listening to people's origin stories too, because they can't wait to hear about the time you was a gigolo. They're like, I know, Jerry Craig was a gigolo back in the 80s
Hey,
at
listen,
some
you
point.
listen. At the end of the
Yeah,
day,
the Jerry curl.
anybody that know me, they know Jay always been grinding. Jay always been pushing
Grinding on the ladies.
something my cousin said the other day with his wife, and he was like, man, I appreciate, all the years he's been knowing me. He's like, man, Jay has never sat down and talked to me about chicks or chasing bras. And we always talk about life, business, etc. Because it's like, yeah, man, like
it's enough.
I was in my teens and I was in my 20s. Like anybody that's older, that's okay with you jacking up the way they jacked up, get away from me. I don't want no one younger than me making the mistakes I made.
I had a conversation with someone who told me that they think I was trying to make my sons grow up too fast because I was encouraging them to work and save money and look into their future businesses and blah, blah, blah. And I looked them dead in his face and I was like, you're a fool. And I'm glad you don't have kids right now because your mind stays wrong.
Yeah.
You want to allow a 16-year-old to just F off and just do whatever. Like you're not on my side with
I don't have
forcing.
to prepare
I don't
them.
force them to do anything, but I fully tell them, like, listen, don't do this, don't do that. You shouldn't. You're gonna waste your time. All the things you're doing to be a kid, you don't need to make those mistakes. I'm telling you, trust me.
You're gonna pay for it.
And the conversation where you just making them grow up too fast. Like, well, when are you supposed to grow up?
Yeah, that's
At
the
what
whole
point are you supposed to grow up?
That's the trick. That
when
they
you
give
grown,
the US people.
You know how many cats is in jail for selling dope during the era when they had the flyers, Carl Kanai, cross colors, and that Beamer, and none of that stuff is in sale. No. I mean, in style. You know how many guys is dead and gone because they was like, yo, I got the flyers, Maurice Malone, the used jeans, the shine,
Starman,
Rockaware, I got the iceberg, and so what I'm saying is, hey, you better wise up quick, man. It's not. You get what I'm saying? Like, you gotta really, you gotta understand longevity. Yeah. And life is not a sprint; it's a marathon. And if you don't make an impact, and I'm gonna close on this because I know we're out of time. If you don't make an impact, listen. If you don't make an impact while you are alive, your absence will not be felt. And so let that sink into everybody that's listening. If you do not make an impact while you are alive, your absence will not be missed. Now take that and go drive past a cemetery and see how many grave sites got grass built around them because they're forgotten.
And to piggyback on that, someone once told me that you are only alive as long as the last person that remembers you. So do something memorable and you will live forever.
There we go.
Ooh. And on that note, have y'all heard Kendrick Lamar's new song and y'all seen that video?
No, with the face switching video? Yes. Yeah.
That video and that song.
That's fire.
Everything we just summed up and it will give you chills.
Yeah. Wow.
Because he speaks on that from Nipsey Hussle's point of view and like all that kind of stuff. Like it's dope.
Pretty fun.
So if y'all haven't heard that, check out Kendrick.
We all will check out.
Once again,
unless y'all you got the let you know how you're gonna live.
No. I mean, you could be on Shay's point of view. She says she's trying to be somebody's plus one.
You're right. Man,
That's
if
funny.
you want to be on that kind of bottom, whatever floats your boat.
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out one of these days.
We have no choice.
I feel
Oh,
like
sorry, y'all.
we've
Kind of taken over the Hot 93, 97 hit
It'll be
list.
all right.
It's all right.
So I want to just let y'all know that this man is a big influence to me, and listen to everything that he is telling you. All we do at this network is give y'all game. We care about changing the world, and we're using our platform as best as we can to do that. So even if you don't have a platform like ours, you have a voice. You have people in your circle or people in your neighborhood that could use the knowledge that you hold in your head. So please do not hoard that knowledge. Pass it along, and let's help everybody change their lives.
Absolutely. Obviously, y'all know if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be.
Yeah, literally.
Literally, but
Well,
radio or physically.
before running down here, I just, I wanted to be able to come up and kick with y'all, and just have some fun, but also drop some jewels, because a lot of people do not understand in how to diversify themselves, right?
Yeah.
And so we watch it before our eyes, but it doesn't sink into us.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll hear someone say, such and such sits on the board of this, such and such took this position there, such and such, and we don't really understand what that means, right?
Yeah.
That means that once you're seasoned enough and you have enough wisdom and ability, then you become a walking asset. And so, it's cool to say, hey, you can be this of that, you could be this of that. And we have fallen to the fact that we think we can only wear one hat, right? And that's not true, right?
Hey, take it from two bald men who know about wearing hats, baby.
Come on, man.
It's
It's all about time management, but it also do what you love, and it won't seem like work. Do things that make you happy. Keep your energy correct. Move around those that want to see you do better, but also those that make you want to do better, right? Like every chapter, and we were just talking about that when it goes to, some people come up as this and that. Well, you know what? My focus is to be around those that's doing things that I've never done. My focus is to be around those that is touching 500 million and more, 250 million and more. My psyche has changed, right? And so I need to be around that energy. I need to be around that energy that is building platforms and truly about, they're not talking about chasing holes and no disrespect to anybody. Like, I don't mean, like, this is not no knock to nothing. Like, my life is different. So I'm around people that's talking about building and portfolios and business and this and spirituality, exercise, and time with their family, their grandkids. And so, and so we got to know, just know what you want to do with your life, and then get around those type of people.
That's it.
And, I always say this when you're not here, but since you're here, I'll say it too. Kids, listen to your parents.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds so cliche, but all of the sayings that parents say, the friends that they're like, oh, that's not a good friend.
No,
it's the truth. When they say the whole saying, birds of a feather flock together, you can't beat the flock.
I hate that you're saying this right now, only because I'm in this weird juxtaposed position right now where I'm having things happen to where I'm having to make that call to my mother. And at the same time, though, I'm telling my kids, ooh, I can't wait. This is the moment that we're having, that you're going to call me when you're my age and do what I'm doing right now to my mother because you're doing this to me.
Yeah.
So it's such a crazy spot to be in.
That, but, and I can't say for all parents, because I can't say like, oh, all of your parents have the best intentions, because some parents don't. You know what I'm saying? When your parent truly has the good intentions. I mean, the quote unquote strict parents is what I will say. They're strict because they love you and they know the decisions that you're up against. So I'm saying that to Jay while he's here, because I always say it when he's not here. He's probably like, oh, you didn't even say that. But I do. So
thank you.
Yeah, man.
So you're laying a good foundation. I think you did a pretty good job.
I did. Listen, I
gotta talk to you about your work. You're under review.
They used to call me General Junior.
There you go.
Look, I'm very pleased and extremely proud, and at the same time, it's everybody parenting and everybody direction is different, right? And so I meet a lot of young people. I come across a lot of young people, and look, I'm not a professional or nothing, right? Like it's nothing that I can say I'm an expert in, because I'm constantly challenging myself and want to better myself every day. So in order for me to say I'm a professional or expert, that means I mastered something. I can't master anything because I constantly want to better myself.
I always tell people I know a little about a whole lot.
There you go. Absolutely. And so I'm not who I was 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last year. Like I'm constantly trying to better myself. I'm constantly trying to push myself, learn from mistakes, wise up, and then share that so no one else can go through it. But I can say that I've met so many young people where they have bills before they've learned how to make money. I know so many young people that have utilized their credit before they can understand what assets is. And all I'm saying is let's make sure that we're schooling the youngins before we scold them. Let's stop trying to give them responsibility before we show them how to get money. You're going to have bills. Listen, you're going to have bills whether your kids live at home or not. Stop passing on your bills and your trauma to your kids. It tripped me out when I see people, and I know I'm going to get back slack of this, and people are going to be, oh, how dare you? But listen, if your kids was not at home, your ass still going to have rent or mortgage, light, gas, water, and you have to buy groceries. Stop acting like them damn kids living at your house is running up the bills. You still going to have that. Oh, I got to teach them responsibility. Before you do that, sit down and teach them how to get money, how to make money, how to take care of responsibility. What's liabilities? What's assets? When I say these things early where no one taught me how to go to Secretary of State or etc., but as soon as I got pulled up with no license, everybody came out the woodwork. How dare you? But which one of y'all took my ass to go get a license?
I had to tell my son yesterday, we were having this conversation about him moving out for place I was telling you earlier. And I was letting him know, like, I fully expect you to stay living with us. Well, if you're doing X, Y, and Z, it'd be dumb for you not to. Right. And then we were talking about how much they would pay, whatever. I'm like, I don't know, man. Give me $100, $200 maybe for the two of y'all or something, just so y'all can be paying something. He's like, well, I would want to pay like $600, $700. I go, son, you realize my mortgage with my insurance and all of that is like $900 something dollars?
There you go.
And why in my right mind would I let you live here and pay basically my entire mortgage when the plan is for you to be saving money? I go, do you hear yourself? Like, come on, bro.
But that's what society is not telling them. Right. Society is, if you're 20-something living at home with your parents, you should be doing more. But in what book? Right. And because you want to be 20-something moving out, stressed, car getting repo, getting thrown out your house. Like, that's not the goal. We got to start
breaking down what society thinks and stop letting these kids get into what society thinks.
With the YouTube and the new norms is
stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. You find out the Joneses is eating noodles and
they was broke.
Cheese bread and crackers.
They was eating what's that Foreman? Not Foreman meal.
Government cheese?
Yeah, that.
Hey, that's the bomb.
That's
that big block of cheese.
Yeah.
The one that didn't really melt.
Yeah, it didn't melt. It made the best grilled cheese.
Oh, the one now that's
it didn't melt. It just got stringy.
that focus on
it softened a lot.
But once again, that goes into what we're passing down, right? Yeah. And so we got to teach young people how to invest, how to manage their money, how to understand what liabilities and assets are, right? How to diversify yourselves. What constitutes you as grown, right? Yeah. We like all of these words that we use, the definitions behind them really don't fit. Even like the word small business, that's not really like we use it, right? Yeah. And before I get out, because I don't want to get too heavy and too deep, but we use the word.
You still have to come back and do another show with us.
Right? We say small business and things of that nature because they say small business enterprise is less than 100 employees, but truthfully, to the economic world, is nano. And if you look up what a nano business is and you find those numbers, it's a lot of business that's not small businesses, but we haven't reached the nano, right? And so it's those things for us to understand, right? And it's
nano
so many.
Means nobody would know.
No, nano.
That means you're small.
Nano, nano means you hitting that 10, 15, 20 million dollar mark. So when we say small business, we don't even exist on a certain platform when it comes to financial prosperity and wealth, right? And it's understanding that level, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll look at someone and it's all about sustaining, right? So it's not about you making $1 million, can you sustain $1 million? right? And so $1 million actually is not $1 million if you spend it. That means you're broke.
That's all credit
Right.
is.
And so it's so many different things, but then it's also how to use credit, right? So credit is if you get a $300 credit card, you should not spend over 150 because if you spend over 150, now your debt to income ratio,
Well, they say
you swiped half.
shouldn't spend over 100. You're staying 30%.
If you got a $300 credit card, you don't want to go
You
over
wanna-
$120 because with the financing fees, etc., it's going to spit you up to about 140, right?
Yeah.
But we're not taught this. So when a kid come out of high school, they don't know that. They get a credit card, they go get a cell phone, and then already check their credit up. Right? And so it's these things we got to start teaching and making sure that our youth understands. It goes back to that breakdown. I say, look, if you are 18 and you like, I don't want to go to school, I want to be independent, get 2 jobs.
Right.
Make the first job, pay your bills, make the second job, you stack it.
Yeah.
And then take a financial class and
least
learn how
by
to invest it.
the time
In 2
you're 20.
years,
Yeah.
in 2 years, you can be racked up $30,000-$40,000 easy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But we don't teach our youth that. But
Yeah.
we'll tell them don't go into debt because you're going to school. Okay, so they can sit here and get a car, credit card, a phone lease, which I didn't even know was a damn thing,
Yeah.
and jack their credit up.
Yeah.
But then we tell them don't go to school. Right? And
That's what I
we gotta
teach my
know-
kids
we gotta
not to-
know what we're passing down.
I'm
what we're
setting my
talking
kids
about.
up to never borrow or owe anybody anything and not to pay for anything that they're not working towards ownership of.
Yeah.
So my kids will not rent from anybody to live anywhere because I have a home, so I would allow them to do that.
Mhm.
When they buy a car, they won't be getting a car loan. If you can't afford to buy that car cash, you don't need to buy that car. Only buy things that you can afford. You don't need to borrow money to do anything because then you're living above your means. Now, I feel like I'm stuck in a loop now because I am of whatever age. I got to take care of my kids, so I got a home loan and a car loan and all that. And I wish I didn't have those things. So
Right.
now I'm fighting to get rid of those things. And once those things are accomplished, I'll never get another loan or any of that. And, you know what I'm saying?
But
In my lifetime.
But if you could do it over, if you're gonna fail under LLC.
Right.
Right? Don't
Yeah.
fail under your tax ID. I mean, under your social security number. Fail
Mhm.
under your tax ID. Right? So people call Trump dumb. Oh, he filed bankruptcy this many times. That's what companies are here for. That's what LLCs
Wipe
are
away
here for.
debt.
Yeah.
So learn how to file your business,
To be
you know, and
free.
understand what business laws protect you. But we're not taught these things. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. We teach the youth, unfortunately, all the wrong, misleading things and the things that's very, very important. And so that's why they promote and they say the wealth gets richer but it's not. It's just we have to give those resources. We have to give that like it's like art, right? Like art is a big thing. You know, like for a long time people was using art and it was never replaced or it wasn't resurfaced around. And so you have millionaires that own real estate, own different houses. They buy artwork, they put them in these houses, they get the artwork appraised, they put insurance on this and they call it the value. But we're not taught those type of things, right? We like right now I'm working on a platform where a lot of things that we are doing and we're building, like I'm investing into that part from the family standpoint, and then you lease and rent out the artwork. And people don't even know you can do that. And you can keep it in the culture, you can keep that artwork in our museums and for people to go out and see it, and they pay you monthly for displaying your artwork that you bought. Right. And then it's insured, then it appreciates. But these are things that we're not taught, right? And so when I say I went back to school and I'm around a different area, I'm around $1 million talk every day, and I'm taking notes. I'm like,
You
and
say
so,
what?
and so
So
then
you
that's
said
when,
both.
so then that's when you say, I don't want my commission off that deal.
Right.
I want to buy that, and then put that in y'all boat that y'all going to put into that, and then let me collect some dividends from my family for the next. But we see what I'm saying.
Amen.
So we
People
gotta.
want that up front of, oh, my business made $1, I'm about to go spend $2. Like, bro, how?
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks, but when you don't have, and that's the last thing I'll say, because I know we really do got to get out of here. That is the way that the system has been built to hold us down, because they deprive us for so long that any scraps they give us, they know we'll celebrate. Not understanding that we could have the whole damn kitchen.
That and people
You
have
know.
to stop placing their fears onto
On
their children.
Yeah.
Because
their failure
kids
fears.
will come across certain teachers, mentors, somebody that's sprinkling that in their mind, and the parents will be like, no, that's dumb. You can't do that. Don't place your fears on that kid from reaching that potential of trying to do more. That's the problem. Because then that kid just goes back into their shell and, okay, I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to do this. And then they turn 18 and then you just want them to be grown when they had a teacher or they had a field trip that gave them that inspiration, or they met somebody online that gave them this or gave them that type of thought process. But as a parent, you don't see farther than your front doorstep, so you shut them down. That's not fair.
Yeah, but we also once again, it's how we pass it down. Right?
Yeah.
Right. And if we focus more on schooling youngsters, educating them, like everyone is afraid, right? No matter who you are, it's just human instinct, right? It's like if a person told you, look, go on this ledge and trust this parachute and just jump off. You're like, wait, what? Hold up. And so when you ask somebody to leave a 9 to 5 to believe in their faith or trust their dream, that's scary.
It's hard,
right?
It's hard.
But then it goes back to, well, how long do we let them get into that cycle? So we can't expect the person just to change overnight, right? And so we have to gradually educate them and show them, like, listen, if you do this, you can do this. But it's not meant for everybody either. Everybody is really not a CEO. Everybody is not an entrepreneur. Everybody is not a business person.
9 to 5 work.
Yeah, everybody. Listen, we got to stop acting like everybody is business savvy or CEOs or entrepreneurs or everybody not an artist. Look, I know some cats that can write their butt off, but won't sell a song, and I'm like, yo, you don't fit an artist. Just write it, and don't want to do it, right? And so it's that understanding,
The dream banking off from Beyonce's album, okay?
And inside of saying that, that's the point of maturity and knowing you got to find what makes you happy, and with that, start to build and little by little. But we also have to listen. When I get around cats that know more game than me, I listen. The worst thing you can ever do is talk around people when you don't know what the F you're talking about. Young people, you know how many young people in their 20s think they know it, think they got the game sold up. And it's like, man, when I get around 20-year-olds, like, I already know what they're thinking because I was that. Right. And so now I realize how stupid I sound when I was around John McNeely and all these other dudes who already had multi-million dollars, who already was doing big deals. Right. And we got to learn how to shut the hell up and listen to money people, right? Because in business, I could sit with anybody now, and I could tell within 45 seconds to a minute, either they know it or they don't. Like literally, I can have a conversation, and people's response or actions will let me know if they're mature enough, if they have some type of wisdom or game or education, and most cats don't. Most cats do not, and the sad part is that everybody thinks it's going to be different from them. Everybody thinks the game is going to be different for them, and guess what? That is what the 1% prize on. They know that. They know most people do not have the discipline to be the best student, to be the best follower,
They're just gonna get through it.
to learn everything. They know everybody thinks it's going to be a shortcut, and everybody thinks they're slicker than
figure
grease.
out the way.
And no one has. No one has. It's hard work. It's hard work. You become the best student. You become the best follower. You become the best. And then in that, you gather all that knowledge and all that wisdom in those relationships, because the network determines your network. Without relationships, you can have money, and without no relationship, you will overpay. You can think you smooth and slick and grease, and that small line of business will box your ass out. You could think that you're going to outsmart the people in the room, and these are people that's been playing chess since the 30s and 40s. They great-great-granddadds taught them. You dig what I'm saying? They masters in this.
Forever
Masons, you name it. So people got to learn that, man. Listen, and I'm getting it, right? I didn't come from no heritage or no background. So I'm building brick from brick, block from block. And so I'm literally one of those people who, like, if my whole family put 2 quarters together, couldn't get $1 million, right? And so I've been able to obtain and grow and build that. But it took years for me to learn. I had to detox everything I thought I knew. So everything I thought I knew, and all through my 20s, I don't even think that way. I detoxed all that. You dig? Now the experiences and the relationships I still got, but that way of thinking is gone.
But that's what you needed.
Nothing about
you
that
had to
person.
be that person to get that network and that experience to make you this person.
Yeah, and some of those things you can't get back.
Yeah,
right. Some of those relationships I burned in my 20s, I wish I could get back. Right? To this day, they still like, man, F that dude. And I'm like, I'm not the same.
I think about it all the time. And I've stopped. I'm glad I quit drinking. I'm so glad I quit drinking, because if I was still drinking, there's so many people I would call call probably every day, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not the same, I'm different now. You know what I mean? But that was a part of my life I had to go through. I had to lose those relationships. I had to get those experiences. I had to take those L's to get all the W's I'm getting now.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that those people met me at that time in my life, but thanks.
I always
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
My goal was I always said when I hit 50, I will only be a wine drinker. Yeah. When I hit 50, I will not consume any more liquor. It will just only be fine wine from our vineyard,
Classic.
and from our wine collection. Yeah, he's so silly. But no, seriously, you know what I'm saying? But I'm proud of you on that, man, because a lot of people don't talk like. That's what I'm saying. Like when we identify what doesn't work, like what did not work for me, I do not do it. Those that led me astray, and so how I was talking about that earlier about people I saluted or etc. But I also had to move from that era because it was like, if not, I will be trapped in that same mindset. And that's not knocking nobody. But I had to identify, and once again, it's like, yo, that's what we are. We don't do as humans. Like we know what the issue is, but we won't change it.
Right.
We won't take that first step. And to me, it was like, yo, all right, I had to do a whole makeover, right?
And to me, that movie, Get Out, so many people only looked at that and science is trying to steal somebody's mentality. But it was really just showing that, like, when people are dangling something in your face, it's hard to get out of that box and change and be something different because they're distracting you with what you want to see in life. And that's what is happening right now. Everybody's being distracted by social media and this trend and that trend. And they're telling people, don't go to school, don't do this, don't do that. So they can only make a bigger gap for them. Like, you know what I'm saying? If that was the way of the world, we wouldn't have people that are still graduating with PhDs and all that kind of stuff. Like, it is a
everybody would stop going.
And parents got to do things. You know, we got to stop passing it down to our kids. Listen, I'm not perfect. Me and my wife, you know, but she knows, you know, like if she hit me like, hey, Pop, this blah, 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 I'm like, all right, I'll take care of it. Right? Like, because whatever is not her responsibility, it shouldn't fall on her doorstep. You get what I'm saying? And that's like that for any of my youngins in my family. Like, parents got to stop passing that down. Like, my mother wasn't able to send me to school. My grandparents wasn't able to send her to school, right? So me and my wife, we chucked up school on our own and took care of it. But we made a vow that our kids is not going to pay for education. And so that's when you put those chips to the side. So when they go into school and they finish and that final total come out, then you take care of that final total, right? And so whether a kid want to go to a certificate course, a college, or whatever it may be, but we can't keep passing down trauma. We can't keep passing down, you know, it didn't happen to me. It ain't gonna happen to you. I had to figure it out. You better figure it out. That hasn't gotten us anywhere.
That should be the absolute opposite of what you want to do as parents. I always say this around the house. Hov did that, so hopefully you ain't had to go through that. And that's that's what I say around all the time. I'm like, why would I let you struggle the same way I struggle? What's the point of it? What does that do for me in my life?
To watch you do the same thing.
Like to watch you re-go through something that I wouldn't wish on my worst thing. Why would I allow you to freely go through that? Now, I can't make you make the correct choices, but I'm gonna drill it into you as much as I can that that's not the way you want to go. Now, it might work out differently for you, but listen, I'm telling you, this is what happened to me, and I'm telling you, I did exactly what you're doing right now, and I'm telling you, this is how it turned out. That's all I can do for you.
And all I can do is see it from the point.
That's it.
And that's what I tell people. So that's why I'm very passionate, but I also I get irritated and I have limited patience for people that do not listen. I got patience to keep kicking it with you. But what you just said, like, man, I went through a lot. So no one that knows me or is blessed to come around my energy should have to go through it.
Adult wise.
It's not.
I mean, either way, even the young cats.
It's not.
Especially the young cats.
It's not nothing that I can't relate to cats. I grew up in a drug-infested neighborhood, a gang-infested neighborhood, right? I grew up in an era where, you know, you name it, it happened. But I also know the justice side of it, right? And that fight through that, right? And so it's no lane, you know, I can't sit down and connect with or try to in some way learn and find the resources for someone. So when people say I'm by myself or I don't have no help, no, your ego did not allow you to ask for help. Your ego shut down and you chose not to freaking listen.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? I used to work in a juvenile facility. And when I first walked in there, I walked in there like this, and them young boys just thought they was going to eat me alive. They was like, and before you knew it, every young boy in them, so we used to do this thing called affirmation in the morning and confirmation at night. For anybody that's been locked up that go to group, you already know what I'm talking about. And so it took me less than 2 months. And when I tell you I had the most popular unit, the most packed group, like these boys would sit like I mean, was
dying together
because they judged me based upon this,
yeah,
and didn't know where I came from.
Yeah.
So it was like, listen, youngin, don't judge a book by its cover because you don't know game. And in the end, man, like my last day that I was there and I left, man, like so many young boys, like, man, you changed my life. You schooled me on some books. Even the ones that was tough and act like they didn't really want to change was like, man, you know, I miss you, dog. Like you gave me a lot of game. And I would see them come in as early as 13 and be 19 and 21 locked up in the system. Right. And so it shows you that, man, like most cats, they just want to be talked to. They want somebody to listen to them, someone to give them wisdom. And boy, my affirmation and confirmation used to be popping in that joint, right? Man. And before you know it, they all used to be like, yo, Jay, like everybody in here, man, they waiting for you to come in. I used to go to other units. And I had the most toughest unit. So I was on the unit that I had 2 units. I had one unit where like boys was man.
Was it G
level man?
It was like them boys, right? But I've never had no one try to hit me, fight me, spit on me, hurt me, or nothing. Because I didn't treat them like they was convicts. I didn't treat them like they was inmates. I didn't treat them like they was less than nothing.
My wife is a CO. She said the same thing.
Yeah. I
treat them with respect.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Respect every single day. But boy, I seen them bash some people's heads in, though. Hey, look. You see somebody get their head, you're like, oh, oh God, Jesus. I need lunch. I need to take a lunch.
Hence where Jay the Great positive affirmation and confirmations of the Jay the Great Show came
on my show.
Yeah, speaking of which, I think it's only suitable now, since we've been talking about it, that we end our show with a confirmation from Jay the Great.
Oh God.
Hey.
Well, that's a lot of pressure out the blue.
Hey man, I'm just saying, bro.
You brought it up.
You know, talking about passing down game and things. And you can't talk about the affirmations and confirmations without breaking somebody off with one, man. I've always wanted. I was telling Princess before you came in today. Even though I've been here, you know, however long I've been here, we have never done radio together, and that. Ever since I met y'all way back in the day, that was a dream of mine to come in here, and I got to do it with her.
Wow.
And I've never gotten to do that with you. And I don't think I've ever even told you that, but that was a goal of mine. And today it happened. So,
man, thank you,
it's
brother.
amazing to
thank you. My God. Listen, listen. This guy is such a burst of life, good energy, but your story, like, dude. You talk about me being humble. One day I'm in here talking about EOTech and blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, let me try that joint now. You know, I'm a marksman. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, oh my God. Like, what just happened?
M16A2, right? From marksman.
And so, like, man, you're so humble and cool. Like, you served our country. You've never.
Served it well.
I've never heard you, like, show any anger from it, and I know that our country got to get better of how they do our vets and treat our vets
much better.
But man, you up and you just come around with so much energy, come in with so much burst, so much life. This dude jumped on the mic, which I knew it was going to be easy for him because he's a hell of an MC. And I said out of the bars I was spitting, you killed it and nailed it to the T. But you come in and you have great ideas, you have great vision, you have great passion, and your patience. Like you speak to everyone with respect, and that is something that needs to be taught to young people. Because a lot of young people in this day and age don't realize that social media gonna get their jaw cracked. So
that's for sure. Twitter fingers.
And people really don't understand too, especially these days on social media, that the internet is forever.
Yeah.
So just because you're young and you out spouting whatever you want on social media, when you grow up and you figure out that that's the wrong avenue and you get to a position of somewhere success, it can all be taken away from you over something you said 10 years ago on Twitter.
And that is why I've been very fortunate to go to different areas and travel, because I've never tried to portray something that I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Would you say be who you supposed to be?
Yeah.
Literally.
I've never, back in the day, I've never tried to, anybody that knew me, I've never tried to be something that I wasn't. Right? I've never tried to front and say, oh, I'm this, or, oh, man, it's not me. If the person saw Jay, they know Jay either out here promoting or marketing something, Jay either putting something together, Jay a business person, Jay, but I've never tried to be anything that I wasn't.
Jay ain't a businessman. He's a businessman.
And on that note, for a great confirmation, listen, people, place yourself around individuals that are like-minded and look at them. And if they are not living with the passion, the endurance, and the abundance that you want to live with, get the hell away from them. And so if you feel as if you are not around the right set of people, then get around that. Create new avenues. You want better network, start going to art shows. You want a better network, start going to jazz shows. Go where the money is at. Go hang around a boat dock. You ain't got to have a boat. Go sit in the marina and meet people. But stop thinking you're going to be around the same people and get a different outcome. That's insanity. Look at the people that you are around. Look at the people that you spend most of your time with. And if they are not chasing dreams, if they are not living motivated, living with the abundance and the endurance to be better, guess what? Laws of attraction is a real thing. You will become those you are around. Money people hang around money people. Spiritual people hang around spiritual people. Now look at the people you hang around. And if that is not what you're trying to be, you better run like a mother. And that's my confirmation for today.
Hey-o.
Just that simple.
My brother Jay the Great, we appreciate you blessing us.
And he said it best.
Oh, we appreciate you blessing us so much.
Look, and that's the most simplest rule. We don't believe it, but it's the truth.
That is true.
You'll never find a broke person at a millionaire's house.
Yeah,
right?
That's for sure.
Even was able to pool boy making more money than you make.
For real. You better believe it. Come on. You know, people like, ooh, man, that millionaire don't even realize the pool boy be in there knocking off his wife. Man, y'all focus on the wrong thing.
That. Look,
you think that billionaire?
Why are you worried about his wife and who? Who's my father's got a song. The concerts have a song. Who's making love to your old lady while you're out making love?
There you go. Come on.
Exactly.
We focus on all the wrong things, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's like that's where your mind went to. Right. That's the first thing your mind, because in some people's world, like once again in America, in our culture, but sex ain't a deal breaker for everybody. Didn't Will and Jada just teach us that? No, and look, I'm not throwing darts at nobody. I'm just saying, look, listen, I'm not throwing darts at nobody. Like that's no disrespect. What I'm saying is that sex is not a deal breaker to some people. Right?
Because you wouldn't have paraplegics and blind people.
There you have it. There you have it. Like, we got to stop falling victim to all this wrong thinking.
That is
Come
true.
on, man. So, look, I appreciate it, man. Thank y'all so much.
Not a problem. It's okay.
When y'all in the Tri area,
the boss gonna be mad. We went over.
when y'all in the Tri area, make sure y'all get out to Detroit Taco.
Yeah. This Saturday,
or Barbarona.
This Saturday, I will be posting a whole bunch from a special night.
There you go.
My wife and I get to go out for
Absolutely
her birthday and our anniversary on behalf of Cambria and Barcelona.
There you go.
I wanted to go out there and check them out anyway, and I figured this was a very special night for the both of us. So we're gonna go enjoy the night there, have some dinner, and stay in the room. So be looking out for that. I know everybody's like, "Oh, you shouldn't be working this show." I'm about to get as many flicks and as many. Well, I'm gonna sneak in the kitchen, share scene.
I got it laid out for you too.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We'll be there for the patio on Thursday.
You didn't bring out no allergies when it comes to desserts, right?
No,
Perfect.
We all good.
I got a heck of a spread.
Let's go. I'm excited
to pop off for you, man. So listen, I appreciate y'all having me out.
Yeah.
Anytime. What do you mean appreciate
Right.
anytime? You stop by and you wave anytime. Wave, come sit down. I hope we interviewed you well. You know, it's kind of hard to interview someone who's the interviewer and teacher. So
you gotta try to,
No, I think we covered, a lot.
But it's more to come in the doc series that's coming out.
Yeah,
So.
this is a little tester. We just wanted to make sure he got to come in here and you guys got to hear him. You guys got to hear him on the mic again because I know even for me personally, I listened to your show more than you thought I did. And I was, I would always, before I knew how to get to the social part, I was trying to mess with you, text you, call in. And so I know it's probably nice for them to hear you back on the airwaves.
Yes.
Oh man,
because you were in a lot of people's homes.
Yeah.
You missed it,
man. This was fun, man. And so
very therapeutic.
We get it popping again. I got some new things coming up. So we have some fun with it and. Keep it going. I pop in here every 90 days.
Right, I was gonna say like twice a year when you get a day, you can come spend.
Well, in the meantime, make sure you guys definitely check him out on social media at Team Jay the Great on Instagram and Twitter as well. Y'all can follow him today with all the pictures, see everything he's doing. He tried to post, but we're gonna get better at that too.
Hey,
I might come find him and take pictures for him.
Would I be an asshole if tomorrow y'all both got a fine for going 38 minutes over?
Yeah, you would. That's why I keep saying the boss gonna be mad.
I'm like, look, it wasn't even our fault.
Look, as soon as I see it go past 7, I'm like, watch him do some shit. Watch us get an email from corporate talking about getting
downtime from the other show was not able to air.
Right.
Error.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. No, look, y'all doing a great job, man. And the numbers, man, like the numbers speak volume, right? And so, man, y'all doing a heck of a job. And that's what makes me proud, right?
Yeah.
And so we keep passing this.
The torch.
Yeah,
it's just the beginning, man. We got a lot going on. We're growing. We're about to get real good.
The goal, y'all need to reach out and go ahead and buy 106 and Park. They're not doing nothing with it.
Didn't they
I'm
do like
a universe?
Didn't they do one like comeback episode or something recently?
They're doing MTV Raps.
Was that MTV Raps?
They're doing MTV Raps now. But we need to go ahead. All right, I want to.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
that's right. Cut the mics there, backspace. Delete all that, baby.
Hey, that's what I'm on now. Like we be buying stuff. People don't even know it. Like
y'all didn't do none of that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, y'all. I'm your girl, the Princess of All.
Cujo Speaks.
And the infamous Jay the Great. Like we always tell y'all, the Good Time Show. It's been fun.
It's been trill.
It's been
so freaking real.
Oh, Jay doesn't know that because he hasn't been here. That's okay.
Sorry.
All right.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
That's so right.
It's okay. It's all right.
Like she treated me like I've been locked up.
Yeah,
like,
he been
here. He just came
home. Fresh out of corporate.
Fresh beat. I'm just kidding.
Like, jeez.
Well, listen, y'all. Ladies, stay pretty.
King, stay king.
Deuces.
Bye, Alicia.
I appreciate that. That's excellent.
That was
Man, I swear the studio. Look, why is it in the
so
wintertime?
hot?
The studio.